In 2010, Thane Ormsby, and that's his name, he was 20 years old and he stabbed 3 people to death, and this is his interrogation. Now, if you are a true crime and interrogation nerd, you're going to absolutely love this. And if you're not a true crime nerd or an interrogation nerd, then you're going to become one, and you're going to chase the buzz you're going to get from this from now on. This is going to be one of the good. This and the Russell Williams that Jim Smith was interrogating. That's the first one, and this is number 2. This is so good. Greg, tell us about the videos we're going to watch.
Yeah, so as you said, this is an interrogation. This man, Thane Ormsby, was charged in the fatal stabbings of a 10-year-old boy, the boy's father, and a family friend at their home in northern Maine. He was convicted on all 3 counts on June 22nd, 2010. And I have to echo what Scott just said. I've interrogated and seen a lot of interrogations. Buckle up for this one. It's great.
So you're there, and what goes on? He's mowing lawns. He stopped
In the
mowing.
middle of the lawn, he stopped mowing the lawn, talked to me, invited me in, said, have a beer. I had a beer with him, and I sat and drank a beer with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Joy actually called. Joy knew I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Called me and told me, come back and help me with the garden. And then I,
During that time period,
yeah, it was
what time of day was that? Do you think?
midday.
You said she called, she must call Jeff's house.
Before noon. It was just one morning, and I decided to stop in and say hi and ask him. He said,
How did you get there?
how did I get there? I walked out.
You walked out.
Yeah, it's a short distance.
No, you didn't take your bike.
No.
Okay. Okay. Do you mind? I'm a visual guy. Can you draw the trailer for me and say where you went in that trailer? Because it's important to see where you went and all that. Okay.
He showed me around. Sure, yeah, right there. So, like I said, I was walking down the road, and he was mowing his lawn or around here somewhere. And we walked in and talked to him, and I met his dog. I think I walked over and petted his dog. I walked down, and we told me, come on in, grab a beer. And then he's got chairs here. We sat down here. It was a hot day. We came back outside. Sat down here. That was it.
How long were you there, you think?
Half hour. 1.5 hour.
Eddie had already showed you around the place before this, you said.
He showed me his house, yeah.
And before this visit.
For this visit. No, this is the visit. And they were only hard.
There's at least 2 visits, as you said. The very first time you met him, you went down and had a beer. Then you said, I asked you, it was the second or third visit that this happened, and you said it was the second visit.
I'll be straightforward because there's no reason I can't.
I appreciate that.
I do have a bicycle, but I know this much.
Okay.
And I've
Is it a 10 speed with the handlebars coming around?
no.
Okay, what type of bike is it?
No, it's 8x3 on 4-speed.
Okay. Or you had a bike, right? Okay, come here, okay. I appreciate being honest.
Well, because it just okay. Go ahead.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Love this video. Interrogation is an art form, and I have always said interrogation is theater for one. You customize exactly how you're going to talk to that person and everything else. And you do your best guess right out of the gate. And this cop has already made his best guess. He's going with, I typically talk about having a posture that is either stern or sympathetic. Either way works. And people mistake rapport for being good buddy, good pal. Not at all true. All rapport is a framework for exchange of information. I can be a real to you and still have rapport. As long as Mark, you said it in our trust show last time, as long as you can trust that what I'm saying and doing is going to be consistent, that's trust. It's not the kind of trust that makes you want to embrace somebody or that kind of thing. But this kid comes in with a prepared story and deconflicted. And what I mean by that is at any moment you have to lie, there's going to be a trigger event. This trigger event happened a while ago. And so he's had time to fabricate some details. And then depending on how smart you are and what you think people will ask, you start to deconflict how that ties into your story. And then after you deconflict it, you pitch it, you talk to the person, they attack it, you have to defend it, you'll probably have to deconflict some more. So he comes in, and Scott always talks about loping. This ain't loping. This is methodical, delivered process. He's got right out of the gate, he's got this whole mindset that if I just repeat what you're saying a little bit, if I just feedback what you ask, if I finish your sentence, then I'll be okay. The problem with that is that works just fine as long as your brain, your mouth, and your body are all talking at the same path. But once I get you into the stress of an interrogation, of not allowing you to run, like this kid has run his mouth and gotten away with things before, then your brain starts to glitch and things start to fall apart. One other interesting thing that I see is there's actually one space where he repeats the entire question. How did you get there? How did I get there? Red flag, red flag. He gets attention right now. He then shows another place that he's done some deconflicting. Joy actually called. Well, actually, or she did. And then he even has an explanation for why she would call him there. This is 2010. Prey didn't have his own phone. This was a landline. There's a deconflict. This posture leans into the guy, and he's doing a great job of pushing this guy. And then the kid says, I'll be straightforward. Another push forward. Well, I didn't ask you to lie. It gives you an opportunity to see where his brain's at and where he's going. This is the most interesting thing I see here yet in this entire video. There's not a single verbal bridge, not a single verbal bridge. And then after that, any way to hide time. That's really a big deal if you've committed some kind of a crime, because we naturally skip over things that we don't want to talk about. He doesn't do it. I'll tell you in the next video why I think he doesn't do it, but let's see if he can hold out. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so he's super confident at the start here. Calm.
Yeah.
He's kind of looks maxing and like confidence maxing, and a little later on he'll be idiot maxing. I guarantee you, guarantee you that. But casual, easy at the start. Yeah, Joy actually called. I've got that one. First red flag for me. It's like, oh, hang on, here we go. The Seinfeld episode that he starts into with, how did you get there? How did I get there? The moment you get that repetition of it, and it starts to sound like an episode of Seinfeld, I'm like, oh, hang on, something's going on here. And then the other one for me is, what time of day was that? Is the question. Simple question. What time of day was that? We get a long pause. We get an out breath, and then we get midday from him, and there's a little chin raise and a little chin jut there, a little bit of conflict coming out there. It's like, why did you have to be? Why is that a challenge on that? So listen, he'd be doing really well if, for me, he hadn't done those three things there, which immediately caused me to go, hang on, we're into one here. This is not going to be as he would like this to be. So good, great start on this one. Chase, what do you got?
The mainstream media is not broken at all. It is functioning exactly as it was designed. It exists to manipulate you, to divide you, to feed you fear and outrage and distraction while pretending all of that is information. And most people are still swallowing it like it's gospel. I've spent years studying propaganda and psychological operations and human behavior, and I will tell you this plainly. The media is not here to tell you the truth. It's here to shape your truth without you even realizing it. Every network, every outlet, left or right or center, they are all playing the exact same game. Keep you emotionally hijacked, cognitively blind, and addicted to narratives engineered by people who have zero interest in informing you at all. So they manufacture a bunch of division, they amplify lies, and they bury stories that threaten their control. This is not journalism. This is mass psychological warfare. This is why we use ground news. It is not just a news app. It is a tactical weapon for seeing through all this fog. Ground news pulls in all these stories from every source, whether it's liberal or conservative or state-run, corporate-owned, billionaire-owned, and they show you these biases and the ownership of who owns the outlet that wrote that article, the spin. And then finally, my favorite is what is being left out of that article. You know, I always talk about let's look for what's missing. They do that at ground news. So you're going to watch these narratives fracture in real time. You're going to be able to spot manipulation like it is lit up in neon. And once you see how disgustingly coordinated all this stuff is, you're not going to be able to unsee it. The behavior panel never really partners with very many brands. but ground news is way different. It puts the power back into people's hands instead of the news. So go to ground.news/TBP, scan the QR code, or hit the link in the description. We've got you 40% off of the same plan that we use. So don't keep trusting the people reading scripts for billionaires. Stop being programmed and start seeing the depth of what is actually going on. You know what the most common emotion is that you see in an interrogation room with an innocent person? It's anger.
Mhm.
It's not confusion. We all assume that like people go in there and they're like, what? Oh no, I can't imagine. What? It's not confusion. It's anger. Especially when they realize that like the shoe drops and they're like, oh, the police are actually talking to me because they think I did something. Then the anger starts. There's no anger here. We're not seeing any emotion at all. The interviewer is asking present tense questions, which I think is a beautiful move. So when you want somebody to kind of be more in the moment, into what's going on, you use that present tense language. So you're leaving the office, it's 6:15 p.m., and you get in your car. Now what happens? So everything's in present tense. You're trying to force them back into the situation as much as possible because they don't rehearse. I don't think anybody I've ever seen has rehearsed a story in present tense. It's always I did, I was, I went, I opened, all that. It's all past tense. So see if you get present tense language, and we don't really see a lot of it here. But when you have this, Greg, Mark, you guys called it, you have this exact question repetition. This is different than if a part of the question gets repeated. So like somebody said, what did you do when you left for work on Wednesday? And they say, on Wednesday? And then that's okay. That's just kind of a mental clarification. Did I just turn like orange or something?
A little bit.
Oh, it's the good old days. You're back.
Don't be bad talking to other people's cameras. See what happens. You get logged.
So, the most interesting thing in this clip to me was that his brain defaults to gaslighting instead of correcting tiny inaccurate details about his visit to this house. He goes into a gaslighting scenario first. That's like a default mechanism, which tells me it's worked in the past somewhere else. Scott?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say.
What? Go ahead and say it.
No, go ahead. The organism does exactly what you said.
Exactly. And the part about getting people mad, about anger being in the interrogation room, that's one of the reasons. And because some of the things I do is when I'm dealing with someone who's stolen a bunch of money from a company and trying to get them to admit that, And so what you do is you have them come in on the weekend, like on a Saturday or Sunday where they've got plans. And so that makes all of them mad. Everybody gets angry. And that makes the ones who think they know who it is want to tell on that person even more because they're having to be there on that Saturday and you make them all wait, before you even start talking to them. So that makes them say, yeah, it was Glenn. I know it was Glenn when you say, who do you think could have done something like this? Glenn, because they're mad. So, and you're right, Chase, there is no anger here. It's all confidence. But the most confident person in this room is that detective. Man, and I can see why. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, the perfect interrogation situation is when you've got someone, they'll describe the room and all that. This guy's doing the dream. He's got the dream spot, about an arm's length away or a little bit more than that because he's slow. Well, okay. As you watch this, he slowly but surely gets closer and closer to this guy so he can touch him, which is what you want to do when you want to get him to tell you what's going on. I won't say anything else about that for right now. But anyway, so he's really confident with this. This kid is, or Thane is, and as he's going through it, you guys have already nailed all that stuff. He's got his story down. He said, "Here's what happened." It's in these sections, almost like a real story you would tell if it were real, or if you were to write one. It's a real story. Now he's not under arrest here. He's come in voluntarily. They're talking to him. So keep that in mind. Now, even though he's backed up in the corner, that door is a little bit open. The door is ajar a little bit. So it may give him that psychological feeling of, I'm not locked in here. I can get away. I can get out if I want to. And he can. And at one point, I don't know if it's in these videos or not, but he does tell him, hey, man, you can leave if you want to.
He should.
Yeah.
Should have early.
Yeah, no kidding. But then he starts panicking. as this detective starts getting in closer and closer, and he's on top of this story. I mean, he's all over. He just climbed and squatted on it as this guy's telling the story. So that makes his voice tone go up. That makes his cadence speed up a little bit. That makes him get a little bit louder as he's trying to defend what's going on. Because a lot of these things, he hasn't thought about how to defend these things. Because when you, of course, like Greg was just talking about, when you're lying about something, you've got to go in and deconflict all these things before you introduce them to the situation. Because if you haven't, then that person immediately can say, well, what about this? And you have nothing. And you have to think about it. You go up into inner dialogue and you start thinking about it, looking around. And it makes your sentences when they come out sound weird. And what we're seeing here is when that happens is, we all use illustrators. That's how your brain emphasizes specific words and phrases. And we have sometimes he talks and he illustrates without saying anything. So he's up there thinking about this. So he knows he's in a little bit of trouble. Now, as this goes on, he gets back in the corner even more. So he's not using a lot of barriers or anything. I think he's conscious to keep his body language open, so he'll seem like he's more approachable. So I think he's paying attention to that because he's sitting, and you'll see this as we go along. He's sitting like an interrogator would sit, because you're sitting there, forward a little bit, your hands on your legs, talking to him, and he's doing that. I don't think he's mirroring the detective. I think he's just trying to defend himself instead of barriering, and that's his take on it. That's his attack mode. That's what he's getting into. So when the closer that detective scoots up a little bit, every time he moves around, you'll notice as we go through this, he gets real close. But if he'll get up and sit back down, he'll be a little bit closer every time. So let's pay attention to that as we go through. And this thing gets even better than that. I won't get into the details why it gets better, but we will, if you will, in a few minutes. All right, we good? I didn't see that till just now, Chase.
So you're there, and what goes on? He's mowing lawns. He stopped
In the
mowing.
middle of the lawn, he stopped mowing the lawn, talked to me, invited me in, said, have a beer. I had a beer with him, and I sat and drank a beer with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Joy actually called. Joy knew I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Called me and told me, come back and help me with the garden. And then
During that time period,
it was
what time of day was that? Do you think?
midday.
She must have called Jeff's house.
Before noon. It was just one morning, and I decided to stop in and say hi and ask him. He said,
How did you get there?
how did I get there? I walked out.
You walked out.
Yeah, it's a short distance.
No, you didn't take your bike.
No.
Okay. Okay. Do you mind? I'm a visual guy. Can you draw the trailer for me and say where you went in that trailer? Because it's important to see where you went and all that. Okay.
He showed me around. Right there. So like I said, I was walking down the road, and he was mowing his lawn or on here somewhere. And we walked in and talked to him, and I met his dog. I think I walked over and petted his dog. I walked down, and we told me, come on in, grab a beer. And then he's got chairs here. We sat down here. It was a hot day. We came back outside. Sat down here. That was it.
How long were you there, you think?
Half hour. One half hour.
Eddie had already showed you around the place before this, you said.
He showed me his house, yeah.
And before this visit.
For this visit? No, this is the visit. And they were only hard.
There's at least two visits, as you said. The very first time you met him, you went down and had a beer. Then you said, I asked you, it was the second or third visit that this happened, and you said it was the second visit.
I'll be straightforward, because there's no reason I can't.
I appreciate that.
I do have a bicycle, but I know this much.
Okay.
And
Is it a 10 speed with the handlebars come down around?
no.
Okay, what type of bike is it?
No, it's 8x3 on 4-speed.
Okay. So you had a bike, right? Okay, come here, Boca. I appreciate being honest.
Well, because it just... Okay. Go ahead. But there are only two occasions I've met Jeff.
Uh-huh.
The one where he comes down to the house, right? And I combine those two occasions of more. A week later, I come back.
And you're on your bike this time.
And I'm on my bike this time. I ride my bike on the road.
Right.
And I ride it on the road. I park it right here somewhere.
Okay.
I come in and I have a beer with him, and he shows me around the house.
During that visit.
Yeah, during that visit. And that's the only visit, though, that I've made to Jeff.
Well, no. You said the first time.
He visited me and I visited him.
The same occasion. You said the very first time he met you, you asked him to get a job and stuff. He said, go
Two
on.
different occasions. I combined the two in one, just to be simple.
No, each time you were here. How many times you're at this house?
Once.
Once.
We've only been there once. I've been to his house once, and it was just Jeff.
And this time here, he shows you around.
And he shows me around.
So the first time you said you went there after you had that very first time you met him.
I said, but really that was the week later. Just to be simple.
Why would you do that? Why would you confuse me like that? I confused.
Because it's irrelevant. Because it's...
Well, it's not really irrelevant because we got 3 people dead. So that's why it makes it very relevant.
I understand.
Especially when people are not telling the truth.
I understand. But, I mean, I had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
So, I didn't want to be...
Were you ever open this area?
No.
Were you ever on the driveway? The driveway going in?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I was riding my bike one day in Lowe's, bottling, and no one was home. I rode by. I rode by twice. Okay.
That's when you're out the driveway?
Yeah, I rode by. I rode in. I rode in.
How do you know everybody was home?
No vehicles.
No vehicles at all?
All vehicles.
No, you a four-wheeler?
No. Okay. He used to keep his truck parked here and his car parked here. I've never seen a four-wheeler there.
They were both gone? Both vehicles were gone?
No, just the car was gone.
The car was, only truck was there?
Truck was.
Because the other day you said you never saw that truck before.
I said I saw the truck. I told you I saw the truck, and I told you it was me. Yep, move forward.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. So look, lies here create a fuzzy logic because there's 2 events here which he's trying to squeeze into one, and he says it. Look, 2 different occasions. I combine the 2 just to be simple. So I know you're not doing it to be simple. You're doing it because it's all falling to bits for you. And I love the way that this interviewer has him delivering the story in what I might call multiple modalities. And one of the modalities is he's got him drawing out the story, and that'll come back later to bite him for sure. This is part of the idiot maxing, which will go on during this. And I'll let others talk about what's being drawn out there and how good that is. But that's really, wait a few videos because that's going to come back to him. But fuzzy logic going on here. 2 events. I'm just going to put them into one just to be simple. No, that clearly has no logic to it. Last thing I'll say is the cop asks him, were you ever in this area? And he says no, but it's very devoiced. The volume goes right down. I mean, I'd like to say it's fading fact, Scott, but it's fading fact. Just the whole word is just so devoiced that instantly you go, because we're looking for change. As people who are looking at behavior, we're going, what is different about this behavior? And therefore, why might that be significant? That no is so significantly different that I instantly go, yeah, he was there. He for sure was there. It's a definite. And you'll find out. You'll find out as we go along what exactly happened there. Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right. When he starts talking about his car or his bike, where his bike was parked, we see a single shoulder shrug, and that lets us know he's not confident with that answer. So you can't just see one cue and go, "Oh, this guy's lying," or whatever. You have to get a cluster. But then we also see him illustrate again without speaking. So that tells us he's got again the inner dialogue going on because this detective's getting up in his head, getting him worried so far. So he's getting stressed. The stress really isn't showing up yet. It is a little bit, but it gets worse here in a few minutes. Now he gets his story mixed up, and the detective calls him on it. So that makes it even worse. That makes his stress go up just a little bit more. Now his voice volume gets loud as he's trying to defend this mistake he's made. You'll when you watch this again, watch how he gets loud again when the detective calls him out on that. And then after the detective asks him about riding in the driveway, then he snaps his finger at that other detective sitting there. I don't know if everybody knows that, but he snaps his finger at him so he'll look around. I don't know what he's wanting him to do, but he's wanting him to pay attention to that. And then when I first saw that, I was like, oh, they know everything. They've got it all, because he hit on something that they talked about and he wanted him to pay attention to. So when we go back through, watch how he snaps his finger at him. And that the other one, you can see the other one's head pop up and come into the frame there. So this is where the main detective starts coming a little bit harder on him. So then let's talk about that drawing board for a second as well. I've talked about Jason Rose Lee on here a lot from the Nashville Police Department. And when he was with the homicide department, we were talking. I said, "So what is it with the board? Because he would show me all kinds of things. I learned so much from him." And he said, "With a board, you do stuff like this." And and you do use it because it gives you the feeling you're giving this overall thing, and it's easy to talk about and all that. But then you start zeroing in exactly where things were, and you can talk about, well, if you're over there and this is down here, which we see happen in a couple minutes as well. But this one time. He drew a line. He'd been talking to this guy for a while, and he drew this line on the board. He said, "Now this is everything we've talked about." And he was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Now all of this through this line here, let's pretend it's 100%. Now I want you to here's where it starts and here's where it ends. Show me where that you've told me everything, where everything is you told me the truth about everything." And he said they would always leave like this much at the end. They go all the way there. That's great. And he goes, great. And he'd wipe off that part. And he'd go, okay, let's talk about this part. Let's get into this right now. And then he'd draw that line so it'd be big. So let's blow it up. And he'd get real big. And that's where he said he would get him nailed right in there. So, but the board like that's a potent tool to use. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, totally agree with the board. And I've never done it, but I've seen him do a overlay map, just like a basic line drawing of the area with black boxes in certain specific areas that says confidential, like something was blacked out as if there was something discovered in that area. And I thought that was fantastic as well. And Greg, you've seen Game Boys being used.
Marine Corps did it. Yep.
Yeah. He says, just to be simple, I wish I had this magical computer where I could figure out how many times in the history of humanity a person has said those words in an interrogation room. I bet it's 0. I bet it is 0. And at first, we had this little cascade. There's no vehicle, no four-wheeler. Yeah, there were some vehicles. Yeah, it was just the truck was gone. I don't understand what the hell that was. Like, just weird cascade of detail. I'm going to add in details and delete details live in the moment, which is gaslighting. It's like, oh, that doesn't fit? No, that's not what I said. And just go back and edit in the moment, which is like chef's kiss. I bet this stuff worked in almost every area of his life. And at the end, the guys call him on it. The detectives, I don't know their names. He gaslights again. He's like, I told you that I saw the truck. He's doing this to 2 detectives.
And recorded.
Yeah. Which just, wow. It was stunning to me. But you can see his demeanor collapsing. And you can tell he spent time in a lot of rooms where he was the smartest guy there. Yeah. And there's two shifts that happen. He, before this, was the guy that had nothing to lose in every room he went into. And now that the intelligence dynamic is it looks to be shifted, and the power dynamic of who has the most to lose in this situation. And typically, in any social situation, whoever has the most to lose is going to be the one that's reacting to the other person. And whoever reacts to the situation more is in less control. That's all I got. Greg?
Yeah, a couple of things that you've all touched on. Agree with you. He's been the smartest guy in the room way too many times. He's just in the wrong room. And he might actually, you never know, you might actually be smarter than the cop. But the cop knows voodoo that you don't know. And the cop is going to do and he's very effective. One of the best indicators this guy's brain is preoccupied is he asks him about the driveway, and look at the map when he's pointing at it. And the kid just drew this map himself. He looks confused. And I think that confusion is genuine because his brain is on fire. He's trying to figure out what to say next. So because he pauses and his body moves rigidly and he sees it. That's a great indicator you've got him moving. The other thing I like about whiteboards or any map, we make people read maps in the intelligence world just to make sure we can pin them down to where they were. And if they can't read a map, we talk them through it and that kind of thing. But a whiteboard is a compliance exercise. Number one. Because you could say, hell no, I'm not drawing anything. What am I doing? But he doesn't. He's compliant. He gets up and starts doing artwork for him. Then, like I say, he's confused by it. And guys, you hear me all the time say an interrogator is like a swan swimming along the water. They look elegant and beautiful in the room, but deep in their head, they're doing the same thing. They're paddling their little feet like a swan does beneath the water. What we're seeing here is this kid's feet exposed. He's trying to do what an interrogator does, trying to be smooth and fluid and make decisions as he goes, but he can't. And so we're seeing it start to bleed already. Scott, I don't know if you noticed, this compliance test points into the chair and the kid sits down. I love it. It's beautiful. Just next, I'll be handing you a piece of paper and a pen and saying, write these words, and you'll do it. I've done that so many times I can't tell you, that you have the guy write a statement where they've been told not to write anything and say, write a statement. Then I'll say, I'd scratch that out if I were you. And they just do it because they don't think. Then you take it and say, this looks like a confession. I'll tear it up if you tell me the truth, that kind of thing. So it's powerful because they think they know more than they do. And it is just beautiful to watch. He tries to run everything together in generic terms. And he does okay with that, Mark, in the first one when he's talking about times, because times are easy to be generic about, but number of occasions is a dumb one to do that. And Chase, a guy just in my notes, the same thing. This must have worked in the past somewhere for him. The thing I was going to mention to you in the first video where I said he has a magic trick that keeps him from using verbal bridging. And by verbal bridging, we mean a way of hiding time. Joe Navarro, Jack Schaefer coined the phrase verbal bridging. I always just called it hiding time. And then after that, and we don't hear that at all. And it's because he talks like he's texting. He doesn't use complete sentences. Pay attention throughout this thing and let's see if he can hold up with it. But there is one time that he finishes a complete sentence. He says, I was riding a bike one day getting bottles. That's the only including entire sentence structure in this entire thing. So let's pay attention to him. I think he is repeating the answers the cop's giving, and that isn't loping. That's a strategy he's got. We'll hear him, Chase, to your point. It's okay to say Wednesday? Yeah. Where was I Wednesday? No, not. Because what he's doing is he's feeding him back data, and he's listening for the answer the cop wants and feeding it back. Cop's smart, and if you want to know that the cop steps on the word suspect when he said, I didn't want to be because he doesn't care. He knows why the kid's lying to him. The kid should be smart enough to look at him and go, uh-oh, this is a lot worse than I thought. But he's not. He's going to keep talking.
But there are only 2 occasions I've met Jeff.
Uh-huh.
The one where he comes down to the house, right? And I combine those 2 occasions of more. A week later, I come back.
And you're on your bike this time.
And I'm on my bike this time.
Uh-huh.
I ride my bike on the road.
Right.
And I ride it on the road.
Okay.
I park it right here somewhere.
Okay.
I come in and I have a beer with him. And he shows me around the house.
During that visit.
Yeah. During that visit. And that's the only visit, though, that I've made to Jeff.
Well, no. You said the first time.
He visited me and I visited him.
The same occasion. You said the very first time he met you, you asked him to get a job and stuff. He said, go
2
on.
different occasions. I combined the 2 in one, just to be simple.
No, each time you were here. How many times you're at this house?
Once.
Once.
I've only been there once. I've been to his house once, and it was just Jeff.
And this time here, he shows you around.
And he shows me around.
So the first time you said you went there after you had that very first time you met him.
I said, but really that was the week later. Just to be simple.
Why would you do that? Why would you confuse me like that? I confused.
Because it's irrelevant. Because it's...
Well, it's not really irrelevant because we got 3 people dead. So that's why it makes it very relevant.
I understand.
Especially when people are not telling the truth.
I understand. But, I mean, I had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
So, I didn't want to be...
Were you ever open this area?
No.
Were you ever on the driveway? The driveway going in?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I was riding my bike one day in Lowe's, bottling, and no one was home. I rode by, I rode by twice. Okay.
That's when you have to drive it.
Yeah, I rode by. I rode in. I rode in.
How do you know everybody was home?
No vehicles.
No vehicles at all.
All vehicles.
No, you a four-wheeler?
Nope.
Okay.
He used to keep his truck parked here and his car parked here. I've never seen a four-wheeler there.
They were both gone? Both vehicles were gone?
No, just the car was gone.
The car was, only truck was there?
Truck was.
Because the other day you said you never saw that truck before.
I said I saw the truck. I told you I saw the truck, and I told you it was me. Yep, move forward.
But you also said you only were there that one time, and it was the same.
I was only there one time. I said it was the same event.
Uh-huh.
To be simple.
Okay, I don't want simple anymore.
Nah.
All right, I want straightforward.
To be straightforward, it was 2 events that I met Jeff Ryan.
Okay.
And once where we came to Bob and Joy's, and I did not go to his house that day.
All right.
A week later, I come back to double check with him.
I'm kidding. When was the bike drive in your up the driveway? Because we found bike prints up there. That's why when I asked you the other day if you had a bike, you said no. Today I asked you if you had a bike, you said no.
Yeah.
Now I'm confused. Why did you tell me you had a bike?
I didn't have to tell you I had a bike. Because
So you saw bike prints there.
I heard stories about biker gangs, and I didn't want to be confused with
No, I asked you the other day, pedal bike.
a pedal bike. Okay, yeah, I have a pedal bike.
Right. But the other day you said you didn't. So I'm just confused on why you admitted that from me. That's all I'm asking. Give me here.
Because I didn't want to.
Okay, now you're inside the house here, and it was just you and Jeff in that house? Because you said you never met Jason.
I've never met Jason.
Okay, have you not heard of Jason?
I've never.
Jason.
I've heard of him.
Jason's the-
I've heard of him through Craig. He's Craig's friend.
Uh-huh.
And again, I haven't seen Craig in years, and he was up there when I was there. But I
And he talked to little Jason?
no,
Craig, just to little Jason?
other people.
How do you know he's Jason's friend? The Craig's friend?
I think I overheard someone just saying,
Who would talk to you about that?
Craig.
So Craig talked to you about some random guy named Jason,
Me and Craig were riding to Halton.
and you went by here, obviously.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he honked.
At Jason's house or Jeff's house?
Both.
Okay, so you know where Jason lives.
I
He must have. You just said you
Think-
honked at his house on the way by.
I think so. I think that's his house.
Well, I assume that he honked to the horn. You probably said, who's that? And that's my friend Jason. Yeah, how else would he talk about Jason? I'm going to say that's where Jason lives, right? Because I'm confused. The other day you said you didn't know where Jason lives. You know nothing about Jason. So now you're saying
I don't know anything about
you
Jason.
know where he lives.
I think I know where he lives.
Craig is home. Is it his house on the way by? You just said that.
Honked at the horn at his friend's house. I asked someone else about it. He didn't say, "Oh, that's my friend Jason." It's Jason. So
Well, no, I'm trying to understand. You're trying to talk in circles, okay? I'm trying to say, who told you about Jason?
Halton, we come back to Halton. Who told me about Jason? I don't know who told me about Jason. I think Bob or Joy or Craig or Mariah.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
So this whole thing with the bike, I think it's worked for him his whole life. He's been able to just kind of sidestep stuff, inject some confusion somewhere, and this is like world championship level gaslighting. It's very good. And as you're watching through this, I don't want you to get the idea that it's working on these interrogators. They know exactly what the hell he's doing. And they're letting him get away with some of this. So it's very selective. And there's 2 schools of thought here. The initial school of John Reed and Associates was that undetected lying. What, Scott? Did I get that wrong?
No, because I know where you're going. I know you're going because a lot of that stuff is different in the Reed technique now. Some of the body language they teach in there, you know.
Oh yeah, it was really bad at the beginning.
The body language.
Yeah.
But the science, and I say science with giant quotes around it, was bad back then too. But undetected lying is rewarding, and that's I think a direct quote from the initial John Reed School of Interrogation. And now it's like for some people you need to build a pile of lies and then throw it in their face, and then you're able to raise the stakes differently with somebody. But with this bike, what he's doing here, it's a certain type of gaslighting called category shifting, to where he said, "Oh, I thought it was biker gangs." This is fake innocence, And it is extremely well executed confusion. So he just shifts the category. That's like a wife looking at her husband's cell phone, and she's like, "Hey, what is Tinder?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I was trying to get something for the firewood the other day, so I typed in Tinder in the app store." And, like, it's just shifting the category, right? So what we're seeing here is a pattern, and you're going to see it here in a minute. He's defaulting to confusion. And the way that he defaults to confusion and causes confusion, I think, is extremely well rehearsed. It's well executed. Like, he's doing it in a manipulative way, but I would still use the word masterful. Like, it is a masterful execution. He said, "I overheard someone," and then that someone turns to Craig really quick here as well. So go back through this merry-go-round of gaslighting here. When the video comes back up, all the facts change every 13 seconds in here. Every 13 seconds in this one clip. So there's injected ambiguity, injected confusion, faking confusion himself, and still no emotion, no anger, but he uses all the victims' names, which Scott might tell you exactly what that might mean here. Scott, what do you got?
All right. His story has changed again. So I'm just going over what you did in different words. And his defenses are up now. You can really tell a difference in the last video and this video. And he's getting even louder. His cadence is speeding up. And now he's stressed and it's starting to show. So he's illustrating with his hands and his head. And he's getting even more squished into the corner there. He's doing it himself. Nobody's pushing him in the corner because the detective isn't like getting so close he would back up, but he's feeling the threat there. That's why he's backing up. And he's not using any barriers. So I think that's what he's using the wall for. So then the part about the pedal bike, he gets busted on that too. So his whole thing, he's realizing these guys know so much more than he thought they knew. And he's not sure yet how much they know, but everything he says, they go into the details of it and just start tearing them apart, start crushing them all. And he doesn't know what to do. So he's starting to get into, he's not in a full panic yet, but he's starting to get panicked. So as they turn the heat up and his panic gets more, his limbic system is firing off. So that's why in a few minutes, we're going to see his behavior change even more from what he's doing right now. But the best part is how the detective is laughing at his story. Out loud to his face, he's laughing at his story. So that's, wow. Again, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm too nerdy on this, but I just think it's great. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to be just as nerdy. The interesting piece is he's done the compliance test, and now he gets more stern. Remember, I talked about stern versus sympathetic. When I taught interrogation 1,000 years ago, I would always say there's two ways you can go about it: be stern or be sympathetic. Stern is a hard ass. Sympathetic is I'm going to be soft and calm. I'll tell you, in my seer days, when I went through the course myself, the most complicated interrogation I went through, the guy was not nice. He was not mean. He was not aggressive. He was stern. He said, "I'm not putting up with your bullshit. Stop saying that." And that's hard to fight when they approach you logically. And to your point, Chase, where you're talking about there are two different schools of thought in this whole thing, whether you call out every lie as you go or you let them pile up, that's dependent on the person. And I think he has tested this kid's compliance to authority twice, 3 times, we pointed out, and he didn't get up and leave. Bingo. Now I know which way to go. I'm going to put pressure, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I can tell you that in my seer days, we would bring these real warriors in for a few days. Chase, you've been through it yourself. And what we noticed, we would speak with stupid accents for a reason. What we would notice is by day 3, the people would start to copy our stupid accents because we were in power. That's authority compliance. And when you get to that point, you got to be careful not to do the wrong thing and feed them information that's not true. But this guy isn't. He's asking and waiting and going after wherever it is. We do get another full sentences. He disclaims a number of events. He is downward telling and using illustrators. You're going boom, boom, and he's using his hands as he says, no, it was only one event, even though I think if you go look at the facts, they think he was there 2 or 3 times driving through on that bicycle. This preposterous, I thought you were talking about biker gangs. What is it, Hex Angels? We used to make fun of a kid when I was in high school who wore a shirt that said Born to Raise Hell on the back of his thing and would ride a bicycle to school. We called him Hex Angel. And this guy reminds me of him with that whole thing. What's interesting is when he gets him about lying about the bike, one of the things we talk about is the chin boss often. And people will say it's only there in grief. Not true. When people get busted and they're, well, I guess you got me, you see it there too. He's got a smirk that I think is habitual, and you'll see it show up again and again. And I think, Chase, you talked about how many people he'd dealt with and that kind of thing. This has worked for this guy, whether he's dealt with stupid people or he's just been so superficial and he didn't have a place in their life. If he's a jellyfish floating in the surf, they don't have to tolerate him but a minute and then they leave and they're gone. This cop creates so much pressure that this kid starts to pay attention and look for a place to go. And his artwork, interestingly enough, becomes his life preserver. You see that stress and see him get wooden. You look over at the thing when he talks about that house. That is so awkward. You know the kid is on the ropes. He's just got a pattern where he regurgitates a little bit of information you give him so that it sounds like he's trying to be compliant, and he doesn't even know what he's doing at this point. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, he's for sure born to be mild.
Good. Carry it.
So look, I was going to say, based on that quote that you gave, Chase, remind me of that quote about lying.
Undetected lying is rewarding.
Okay, so I'm going to say uninvestigated lying is social. And this guy has been around for whatever reason. I think your reasoning is good on this. He's either been around people who've never investigated, have never gone, hey, what do you mean by that? Or either because they wanted to be his friend or they knew he wouldn't be around for long enough. So like, who cares? Would just move on. Or he has an intelligence level whereby he could get out of it and they just give up investigating. But he's never been in a room where he's been investigated like this. So it's a very antisocial situation for him. And the way I see it is, look, lies, truth is should be pretty simple. Yeah, pretty simple. And what happens when he's investigated, if you think about, his lie being a piece of spaghetti, what happens is that the investigation comes in and it chops that piece of spaghetti in half. So there's not 2 loose ends anymore. There's now 4 loose ends immediately. So now you can see him going, oh, hang on, you've chopped my piece of spaghetti there. I'm now going to go over to this piece over here and try and support this piece. So he supports this piece here, and the investigator comes in and goes, all right, well, let's investigate that then and chop that in half. Well, now he hasn't got 4 loose ends. He's now got 8 loose ends. And so he has to pick another. And so it's just going deeper and deeper and deeper until there are just too many loose ends to deal with. But if it was simple truth, he'd be able to go, no, that's how it was. That's how it was. But he has to deal with these loose ends like he did before. Look, I'm just making 2 things one just to be simple. Just to be simple. Well, the truth would be simple. You're telling lies. We're investigating. And now the loose ends are just proliferating. And you can see him looking around at that board going, hang on, like what should my story be given this evidence that I've now created? And that's the brilliant thing. I mean, ultimately, if he were smart, he would not be in the room in the first place because he'd ultimately have found a different way to deal with the conflict at the farm or not be at the farm, wherever he was in the first place. A smart person wouldn't be dealing with conflict in this antisocial manner that he ends up dealing with that. If somebody was smart and they had done that, they would not be in the room. They'd be going, listen, I'm not saying anything. You need to arrest me. Because I'm not, or if they'd managed to get themselves into that room, they'd be going, I'm not saying anything. I want a lawyer. Or in fact, they wouldn't even that. They'd just be walking out because they're not arrested at this.
Early in the game, he said, I may have to choose the 5th. He said early in the game when they talked to him, they read him his rights. He said, I may have to choose 5th. Are you saying you want a lawyer? Not yet.
No, yeah.
Early in the game.
Right.
And there's also in the interrogation, in the whole process thing, I've read 2 different versions. One of which said he killed the guy because he wanted to see if he could do it because he always wanted to be in the military. Well, that's not what we do. And then the second one was he thought he needed to kill the guy because he was a drug dealer. That was when he was doing his insanity plea, I think, if I got it right.
Right. So a bunch of lies, even there in the end.
Undetected lying. And being around the wrong people. I was on an airplane once, and this guy's wearing tactical. I love it.
Stuff. Right.
And he was sitting in the window seat right beside me. And I asked him, like, oh, are you military? And he said, and I quote, yeah, Navy SEALs. From those 2 words alone, I knew that it was not real. No, that's not the words anyone uses. It doesn't happen. And then I used elicitation, right? Because I knew that wasn't true. So I just threw one elicitation statement out and I said, please tell me you're not on team 4. Because all the even number SEAL teams are here in Virginia and all the odd SEAL teams are in down in San Diego. So I said, please tell me you're not on team 4. And he goes, no, team 6, bro. So there's 2 words that people use to describe if they work on team 6, and none of them have the word team or 6 in those words. So, but he was so confident. I asked him where he lived now, and he said Wyoming. He's nowhere near military. So he's probably going to bars and all this stuff locally and developing this confidence and saying a lot of this stuff. I think we're seeing the same thing here.
Right.
All the ops guys you run into that are fakes, it's jargon that kills them. Or a couple of simple questions. Yeah, where'd you go to?
Oh, what's the the SEALs? I can't remember. They've told me 1,000 times. When you go to, what's the school you go to for SEALs? You are
Buds.
in Buds. That's the one. When they ask you about
That's
Buds,
selection, right?
they ask
That's
you
just
where they
selection.
went.
Then you go to SQT after that, and that's where your actual real big training is.
But when
Like
they
Special
ask them
Forces
where-
have SFAS, yeah.
When they ask them where they went through Buds and all those kind of things, they don't know, or they have all those medals on that mean nothing.
I run into guys who tell me they went through SEER school and I got one question that will stop them in their tracks every time.
Oh, what is it? We tell
I'll tell you off
Okay.
camera. 'Cause
Okay.
I bet I know what it
I
is.
think this guy's been through Buds for sure.
Before he got here today, probably.
He actually talks about that.
Oh, does he?
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh, yeah, he does. You're right. He does.
Yeah, he does.
Coming right
A
up.
couple of times.
Yeah.
A couple of times.
But you also said you only were there that one time, and it was the same.
I was only there one time. I said it was the same event, to be simple.
Okay, I don't want simple anymore.
Nah,
All right, I want straightforward.
To be straightforward, it was 2 events that I met Jeff Ryan.
Okay.
And once where we came to Bob and Joy's, and I did not go to his house that day.
All right.
A week later, I come back to double check with him.
I'm kidding. When was the bike drive in your up the driveway? Because we found bike prints up there. That's why when I asked you the other day if you had a bike, you said no. Today I asked you if you had a bike, you said no. Now I'm confused. Why did you tell me you had a
But I
bike?
didn't have to tell you I had a bike. Because
So you saw bike prints there.
I heard stories about biker gangs, and I didn't want to be confused with
No, I asked you the other day, pedal bike.
pedal bike. Okay, pedal bike. Yeah, I have a pedal bike.
Right. But the other day you said you didn't. So I'm just confused on why you admitted that from me. That's all I'm asking.
Because I didn't want to.
Okay, now you're inside the house here, and it was just you and Jeff in that house? Because you said you never met Jason.
I've never met Jason.
Okay, have you not heard of Jason?
I've never.
Jason.
I heard of him.
Jesus, yeah.
I've heard of him through Craig. He's Craig's friend.
Uh-huh.
And again, I haven't seen Craig in years, and he was up there when I was there. But I
And he talked to you about Jason?
no,
Craig, just about Jason?
other people.
How do you know he's Jason's friend? Craig's friend?
I think I overheard someone just saying
Who would talk to you about that?
Craig.
So Craig talked to you about some random guy named Jason,
Me and Craig were riding to Halton.
and you went by here, obviously.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he honked.
At Jason's house or Jeff's house?
Both.
Okay, so you know where Jason lives?
I
He must have. You just said you
Think-
honked at his house on the way by.
I think so. I think that's his house.
Well, I assume that he honked to the horn. You probably said, who's that? And that's my friend Jason. Yeah, how else would you talk about Jason? I'm not saying that's where Jason lives, right? Because I'm confused. The other day you said you didn't know where Jason lives. You know nothing about Jason. So now you're saying
I don't know anything about Jason.
you know where he lives.
I think I know where he lives.
Craig just honked
Is it-
at his house on the way by. You just said that.
Honked at the horn at his friend's house. I asked someone else about it. He didn't say, "Oh, that's my friend Jason." It's usually so.
Well, no, I'm trying to understand. You're trying to talk in circles, okay? I'm trying to say, who told you about Jason?
Halton, we come back to Halton. Who told me about Jason? I don't know who told me about Jason. I think Bob or Joy or Craig or Mariah. Jason's Craig's friend.
So,
So I'm
okay, you're in that house only one time ever.
okay. This is we're going to Halton. We come back to Halton. We got our groceries. He honks at these 2 houses. I didn't ask Craig.
He honked at his house.
I asked Bob and Joy. I said, "Yeah, who lives up there?" I said, "Oh, that's Craig's friend, Jason.
Why would you ask Bob and Joy, not just ask Craig?
Me and Craig were silent. We were. I mean, it wasn't any of my business.
Well, you made it your business. Why ask them?
Yeah, I asked.
Why your business? What's your business?
Because I was just getting introduced to the area.
Okay. So you want him up that road, up that drive on your bike one time?
One time.
Okay. Why are we finding a couple of different trips up to there and another trip through the woods on a bike and footprints going through the woods and stuff coming out in front of Bobby's house? Why are we finding that? Are you confused? It made you forget a time you're up in there with a bike and coming out to the woods in front of Bobby's house? Because we got your path there, the canine and all that stuff. The misery thing. Did you forget that? It's okay if you did. I'm just trying to see when are we back in these ones here coming out in front of that. You forget that?
No. That was just I'd just gone over to check out the junkyard.
Where's the junkyard?
It's right beside Bob and Joyce.
Okay, across the street.
No,
I don't know where it is because we have canines and stuff and dogs.
Yeah,
And it tracks through the here. He said it would have been earlier, probably Wednesday morning or something, where somebody went through the woods and stuff, bikes and all that stuff. But the punchline is across the road from Bob and Joy, someone came out right there. Someone came up. Bob and Joy, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Across from Bob and Joy, someone came out of the woods right in that area. And
No, I haven't.
probably a bike. That's why bike tracks.
We get bikers up and down
Pedal bikes.
Pedal bikes.
Okay.
Pedal bikes.
So it's not you.
No, that wasn't me.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
When you present something to somebody that they don't expect to see, that is consequential, you'll see this thing scientifically referred to as confusion. There's no confusion here about these bike tracks at all. Where somebody else would go, what? What is that? There's nothing there. And you can see in this video, it's just a beautiful example of, I don't think there's a word for it. Maybe we'll call it progressive narrative collapse. He changes all the details in real time again. Like right here on camera, you can see him modifying details about everything live. And with the junkyard, was it junkyard? Yeah, the junkyard thing. He's adding in more unknown details to explain. He's adding details. So he'll say something, they'll ask a question, and then he'll throw 4 things on there to explain whatever they ask. And it's a perfect fit for whatever they ask him. So he just throws details in when he needs to. Everything that he's throwing in are micro alibis. So let me just prove that I wasn't there. I'm going to say this one detail so I can go. I didn't ever touch the shed. I didn't go close to the house. So these micro alibis that say each detail, if you take them as a whole, proves that I couldn't have done it. But he won't say that. And you very often hear people that are guilty, they're afraid to say, I didn't do this. There's no way I could have done this. Do you think that I did this? Are you accusing me of doing this? That you always see that missing. Even in these, this guy has a quoted, reportedly, his IQ is 164. I don't even know how IQ works, but he does seem highly intelligent. But I think that he's used to doing this in the wrong room, Greg, the way you put it earlier. So here's the process. A detail comes up, the detective brings up a detail, and he receives a new memory that just unlocks itself the moment the detective asks a new question. The new details unlock like a little video game. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. Listen, we've got a whole other episode on congruent and incongruent. So if you're really interested in what we're doing here, when you've watched this, go and find that episode that we maybe did, I don't know, just last week or the week before, I can't remember. But because I'm going to talk right now about what's incongruent about him. And it's incongruent specifically to him. Look at his resting position there, which is still pretty casual. He's a little more barriered than he was, but it's still pretty casual. Yeah, he's a little more up against the wall. So there is some change, but net of all of it, you still kind of go, hey, That's a guy who seems pretty casual and confident and like nonchalant and okay, maybe the guy isn't involved. Maybe he didn't do it. And then I want you to look at his breathing rate because you can see it because you can see he's got this necklace on here. And so those beads, I think they're easy to detect the breathing. And I would say his breathing rate is double resting, I would say. So that's incongruent that you could sit there with such a casual rested position and your breathing be double what it should be in that position. That's incongruent. And so instantly I go, okay, there's something going on here. I mean, look, we knew this a long time ago. There's something going on here. So I'm just giving you a little more information here to go, look, those are the kind of incongruences you might want to look out for to go, is this person under stress? Is their mind in a place that their body isn't showing they might be at the moment, but certainly the breathing rate with that incongruence against that casual body is showing that. Lovely example of it for me. Greg, what do you got?
So what I love about this one is it is the pivot point. Remember I talked in the beginning about him having the advantage of not saying verbal bridging things to get away. One of the things that honest people are going to do when they're in a situation is have a narrative. This is a broken narrative. If I have a narrative, if something happened to Chase, let's say, hell, of course I know Chase, but I haven't been to his house ever. Number one, I was certainly not there that day. Here's where I was. That's an alibi. That is a sentence-built alibi, not regurgitated pieces of data you're saying to make you feel comfortable with me. That's what we're seeing here. And it's because he's a text talker. He's not stringing sentences together. And he's actually doing a pretty superfluous, maybe, job of bullshitting with all the hand gestures. I agree with you, Mark. He looks good, especially for a 20-year-old. The problem is there's not a narrative through what he's saying. So while most good bullshitters tell a story and weave a web, he's throwing pieces of web out there and hoping they stick. It really just looks bad and it doesn't work. Although his body language and everything looks good. And Chase, to your point, he's gaslighting with everything he knows. He's trying to create a new reality, but he doesn't give you enough pieces for the reality to set. And it makes it really easy to look through it. I want to look at him and get very Southern and say, you're full of shit, boy. I don't believe a thing you're saying, and just start poking him and prodding him. And this guy does just about that. Scott, what do you got?
Going back to the IQ thing, Chase, I know a fella who got his intelligence quotient done, and it took a couple of days. It wasn't just like you go in and write down a test and do all that kind of stuff. And it was like 3 doctors that did it. And then they had 2, they had what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, they had 2 scores. There was one like an overall thing, but there was one start off like 162 and the other one was like 174 or 176. Can't remember which one it was. And this cat isn't out running around telling everybody about it, So this guy's is probably because he's out saying, I've got a 164, but where'd you get the 164? Because you get papers. Yeah. You can get you should be able to show where you're the people who did it, and you'll get a thing out for it you can read and look at. And so here's what it is, So that guy, I'd say it's not 164 because listen to his sentence structure. It doesn't sound like it to me. When he's putting all that stuff together, and he would be smart enough to know not to throw, as Mark's talking about, it ends up being parts of noodles. That story is being, here's a section, then this section comes to here. He's not keeping track of where his sections are. And if you've got a 164, you're going to be able to look at patterns and remember the patterns and see those things. And you're not going to talk like he talks. And I don't think he's trying to dumb it down either. You got some people who have high IQs and they try to dumb it down so people don't think they're a freak and they stand out. He's not doing that. And we don't see that on him either. And he's not smart enough he thinks he's smart enough to talk his way out of this. So wherever he got his IQ test, I wouldn't believe that for anything because he's let it leak out and we know about it now. See what I'm saying? So that to me is ridiculous. Anyway.
I wish there was an EQ test because I think my EQ is way higher than my IQ.
Probably
I watched that Super Bowl commercial about dog food. I forgot the name of it, but I got teary-eyed during a Super Bowl commercial.
What was the commercial?
It was like some natural dog food. We use it, and I don't remember the name of it. But it was like some super natural, raw, organic kind of dog food, and they mail it to your house. But it was like long live dogs was the theme of the commercial and how good dogs are. And I got teary-eyed, and I think that commercial could be an EQ test just by itself.
Ah, okay, I got you. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so I think what's interesting is Thane's seating position or sitting position, because he's sitting like an interrogator sits. He's sitting there. Like again, he's not mimicking the detective, but he's doing the same thing because he's thinking and attacking as well. The interrogator isn't attacking, so to speak, physically, but psychologically he's attacking him. And so this kid's trying to fight back. So he gets in the same position as he's in. It must be some kind of natural position you get in, because that's what's happening. Because he's in a full-blown panic attack here, I think, for that personality type. And I think it's because his story sucks and his details suck and he can't defend them. And he knows that now. And he knows these guys, if he's got a 164 IQ, which I don't think he has, he thought he was smarter than these two guys, but he doesn't realize that we already know by watching this that these guys are much smarter than he is, much smarter than he is. They can track everything he's doing. He can't track his own thing as he's trying to explain it. So when he learns about the canines having tracked his scent in another place in the trail and the other tracks they found, he freezes. The movement stops at that point because his limbic system again is engaged and he's in a panic. He's trying to contain his panic as he's trying to go through with internal dialogue and get this worked out. See if he can dig his way out of this hole. And I don't think he's going to be able to. But he's panicking. He's trying to hide it, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing at this point with this guy.
Well, I think just one note. I think when you talk about IQ, you pretend like that matters. If you have no exposure to any kind of learning,
Yeah.
and you're dealing with a magician, this, Arthur Clarke, advanced science looks like magic to primitive people. This is interrogation. Even if he were brilliant in 164, he clearly doesn't know how to deal with this. And he's gotten away with these bullshit stories his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, you got two people here who have a game, and they have power because he's giving them power. Because
And one of them
the
knows the
powerful
rules.
move for him would be not to be there.
That's right.
If you're not in that room, they can't play their power game. They're powerless if you're not in that room. And he has that opportunity. He could walk out or have never been in there in the first place.
Well, and the only reason I mention that is because if you have a 164 IQ and you didn't do something, get a lawyer. Don't talk to the cops.
There you go.
Jason's Greg's friend. So okay, you're in that house only one time ever.
Okay, this is we're going to Holden. We come back to Holden. We got our groceries. He honks at these two houses. I didn't ask Greg.
He honks.
I asked Bob and Joy. I said, "Yeah, who lives up there?" I said, "Oh, that's Craig's friend, Jason."
Why would you ask Bob and Joy and not just ask Greg?
Me and Craig were silent. We were. I mean, it wasn't any of my business.
Well, you made it your business. Why ask them?
Yeah, I asked.
Why your business? What's your business?
Because I was just getting introduced to the area.
Okay, so you want him up that road, up that drive on your bike one time.
One time.
Okay, why are we finding a couple of different trips up to there and another trip through the woods on a bike and footprints going through the woods and stuff coming out in front of Bobby's house? Why are we finding that? Are you confused and made you forget a time you're up in there with a bike and coming out to the woods in front of Bobby's house? Because we got your path there, the canine and all that stuff. The misery thing, did you forget that? It's okay if you did. I'm just trying to see when are we back in these ones here coming out in front of that. You forget that?
No. That was just I'd just gone over and checked out the junkyard.
Where's the junkyard?
It's right beside Bob and Joy's.
Okay, across the street.
No,
I don't know where it is. Because we have canines and stuff, dogs.
Yeah,
And it tracks through to here. He said it would have been earlier, probably Wednesday morning or something, where somebody went through the woods and stuff, bikes and all that stuff. But the punchline is across the road from Bob and Joy, someone came out right there. Someone came up. Bob and Joy, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Across from Bob and Joy, someone came out of the woods right in that area. And
No, I haven't.
probably a bike. That's why I have bike tracks.
We get bikers up and down
Pedal bikes.
Pedal bikes.
Okay.
Pedal bikes.
So it's not you.
No, that wasn't me.
You said you never met the little boy.
Never met the little guy.
Did he want you to meet the little boy?
She never.
Like I can't. You never. Yeah, you come out.
Yeah, and he was. That's what he was telling me when we were talking on the porch. He was saying, "I hope I'm gonna go get him. I think he'll be back for the summer.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And you never ever been back here. Do you know what's back here?
No.
The tree house here, there's some trees here, stuff. Have you ever been back in this area at all?
No. No, I haven't even been to the treehouse. I've been past the pool.
Well, did you ever play horseshoes down in this area?
Nope.
The horseshoe pits are right here, right? Remember that?
I didn't even see the horseshoe
You
pits.
didn't see the horseshoe pits? Okay.
I noticed the pool and I noticed the treehouse, and I said, good work. He was going about the lumber.
Where Dale's written the black lines up there where you were in the kitchen area, when you said he showed you the house, did you go through the house? Did you take it room by room, or did you just say,
Did you go down in here?
No.
No. How do you know there's a bathroom there?
You asked. Because I asked. I asked him where the bathroom was.
And did you go to the bathroom?
No.
Why not?
I didn't have to go to the bathroom.
Why did you ask where the bathroom was?
In case I needed to go to the bathroom.
Are you kidding me? You said,
No.
You never asked me. You're outside. He said the bathroom's down the hall, and he said, "Well, where's the bathroom?"
I mean, you and I have been together now for a couple. You only been with him for 10 minutes. You said, why would you ask him in 10 minutes? Hey, where's the bathroom? Down the hall. You've been with us now for over a couple hours. You never once asked.
Our conversations wandered.
Yeah, you're there for 10 minutes. You asked where the bathroom is. He told you. You didn't go. I mean, I'm just okay. So you've never ever been down that hallway. So there's no way in hell that your DNA is going to be down in this area anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. And there's no way in hell that your DNA is going to be back in here anywhere. And you had a cigarette. What happened to the cigarette? You smoked it, you said.
I smoked it. I might have put the butt in my back pocket or thrown it.
You said you're kind of not horny about leaving butts around. You told me that in the car the other day, right? But you actually smoked a cigarette. Okay. And have you ever been on these streets up in this area?
Nope.
Oh, did the one time on the bike back and forth here?
Yes.
So this event here where you were inside was about a week before this murder happened.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2 weeks.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So what I love about this is we talked about in the beginning, you got a trigger event, then you fabricate, you deconflict, and then you have to pitch. And when the person attacks your lie, you defend it, and you may have to deconflict again. And this is why deconflicting doesn't work well, because you can be smart in one crowd. We've been saying this all day, but you might not be smart at all in the other crowd. One of my mentor used to always say, an idiot can ask a wise man enough questions to make him look like a fool, and especially when they're framed. So what you got to be careful of is trying to outthink the person cold on what they're going to care about, especially when they have evidence. So what this guy has done is come here and be brilliant at his deconflict, except he didn't think of the right questions. And he's not quick enough. This is where I have a tendency to agree with you, Scott. If he's got a 164 IQ, I would expect him to be quicker and move more rapidly, but he doesn't seem to. When you nail down quantities, you need to stick with them. He gave numbers, and now he's changing numbers. Quantities are not the kinds of things you can casually flex back and forth. It stands out. It just does stand out. Again, his body language isn't bad for a 20-year-old, but his brain is on fire. And now I love watching the cop. The minute he starts trying to turn and run from him, when he talks to him about, and Chase, I'm going to leave the bait question to you because I know it's one of your favorites. But when he asked him that bait question, I would have said, yeah, I went down there to pee and that's all I did. Not the stupid shit that he just said. So here we go. This guy's got pretty good body language. His brain's on fire and he's going, and this cop doesn't let up. Now he's like running from a dog. The cop now starts going at his heels harder and harder. His pitch or his tone and his cadence of speaking is much more rapid and much more aggressive. It's downward telling, no more lilting questions, and he's very, very aggressive. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, bait question's great. And a bait question is made for people to kind of indicate where they're at. Temperature wise, are they really super nervous about being here? Were they at the scene? And a bait question is different than a trap question or a lie. It's not saying, hey, look, I have a DVD that has your face on it, robbing the convenience store. The bait question is there any reason that XYZ might exist, or that somebody would have said this statement? And it does a great job, because if you're innocent, you can say no very quickly. If you're guilty, it puts you into a corner of, if I say no to this and they slap something down, now they know that I did it, or at least that's what's going on psychologically. If I say yes, I'm placing myself at the scene. And the intent of most bait questions is to get someone on a scene. And that's the reason that bait questions are out there. So obviously this whole thing is a lie. I think my dog knew this was a lie, watching from across the room while I was watching this. But we're starting to see these antisocial patterns that are starting to emerge and I don't mean this from a dipshit moron spreadsheet of psychology. I mean, it's not social. I just mean anti-social in the true meaning of the word, not some diagnostic crap. But what you're seeing here, the story has not been practiced whatsoever. The behavior and techniques that he's using are extremely well practiced. And we don't see this very often. This is why this is such a special case to me, just watching this. The story is like, I'm going to fly by the seat of my pants and just kind of see what happens. But the skills that he's using to deploy it, I think he's an expert in, which is like 90% gaslighting. Scott?
I agree with you. And I think you're right about that, because he didn't rehearse this, even in his head. I think as he was doing it, he just got the picture in his head and said, that's what happened. Then it went on. And now he's actually going through it again without deconflicting it, which is his big problem now. And that's where he's sitting now, because as his brain gets even more focused on trying to save himself, this detective starts laughing at him, everything he says. That's unnerving, man. I mean, can you imagine? Which lets him know, Thane know, that the confidence in this guy is saying, I know already. I'm just making you talk. I already know what's happening, without saying, I know what's happening. That's the brilliant part about this. He's slowly leaking out that he knows that he knows everything without actually saying it. When you're laughing in somebody's face, in his face, in an interrogation like that, man, you better have some pretty good evidence. You better be loaded for bear in that, because if you're not, you're going to look like an idiot if it doesn't go your way. So he's really confident on that. Now, the drawing on the board is a great way to lock in the specifics of what happened. But he still, I don't think it's dawned on him yet how he's, I got to watch how he's screwing himself by putting stuff on the board and referring to it, because you can say, what about this? You were here again. What about this? And you came all the way through these woods over here, because if you don't look at it like that, you see it in linear fashion when you're talking about it. It's a linear fashion, but when you can see it on a board and you can look everywhere on there, that's a different show. That's a different thing. And he's not used to that. And his story can't hold up against that because he didn't prepare it for that. He didn't prepare a story, like you were saying, Chase. So when it gets to the specifics, that board, again, is a potent tool for a situation like this and for an interrogation like this. I'm really impressed with the way they're using that and have him do it. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, that's my biggest takeaway from this whole interview. And we're not through it by any means yet, but my biggest takeaway is using that visual modality and getting him to build his own cross, basically, and nail himself to it is astonishingly effective for the reason, Chase, that you've been putting forward, which he's used to gaslighting people, which is he'll just go, oh, no, I didn't say that, or change the category. He drew the category. It's there in blue and white. They can go, well, hang on, you said you didn't go down there, but you've drawn a bathroom. It's like, okay, now square that circle for us. And he's never been called out in this way or trapped in this way. And I think it's taking him to a place where he's never been before. And that disruption is gonna give him anxiety. So again, he's going somewhere where he's never usually been when he's making up these kinds of stories.
Exhibit
and listen,
A.
he's probably never had to make up a story this important as well, because I don't think he's a serial killer. I mean, although he's killed a number of people on this occasion, but as far as I understand it, and of course I could be wrong, this is not part of a pattern within other days and years and months. So he's never been under this kind of pressure, never drawn a picture for people. So the moment they go, well, hang on, if you went down there, how come you knew there was a bathroom there? And there it is, you drew it. It's being, being confronted with your own cross. And that's got to feel pretty brutal if you've got an IQ of 1.6, whatever he says he's got. It's like, didn't expect that one. Didn't bank on that one.
It cuts his gaslighting abilities in half as well.
Oh, yeah,
Totally.
for sure.
Totally, and destabilizes him, because you're right. He's used to being the smartest person, and that was stupid. Like, he's now in the center of, he's the mayor of stupid maxing.
Well, you don't know the rules to the game, and you come in blaring both guns.
Right, and you've never shot those guns before, and you don't know how to load them, and they're pointed in the wrong direction.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a nightmare. At this point, it's a nightmare. And we're gonna see that in the next video. We're gonna see how the body language changes completely in the next one.
You said you never met the little boy.
Never met the little guy.
Did he want you to meet the little boy?
She never made
Like, I can't see ever. Yeah, you come out.
Oh, yeah, and he was. That's what he was telling me when we were talking on the porch. He was saying, "I hope I'm gonna go get him. I think he'll be back for the summer."
Mm-hmm. That was good. And you never ever been back here. Do you know what's back here?
No,
The tree house here. There's some trees here. Stuff. Have you ever been back in this area at all?
no, I haven't even been to the treehouse. I've been past the pool.
Did you ever play horseshoes down in this area?
Nope.
The horseshoe pits are right here, right? Remember that?
I didn't even see the horseshoe pits.
You didn't see the horseshoe pits? Okay.
I noticed the pool and I noticed the treehouse, and I said, good work. He went away about the lumber.
where Dale's written the black lines up there where you were in the kitchen area. When you said he showed you the house, did you go through the house? Did you take it room by room, or did you just say,
Did you put down in here?
No.
How do you know there was a bathroom there?
You drew asked.
You guys?
Because I asked. I asked him where the bathroom was.
And did you go to the bathroom?
No,
Why not?
I didn't have to go to the bathroom.
Why did you ask where the bathroom was?
In case I needed to go to the bathroom.
Are you kidding me? You said,
No,
you never asked me.
You're also, I said, bathroom's down the hall, and he said, well, where's the bathroom?
Okay. I mean, you and I have been together now for a couple. You only been with him for 10 minutes. You said. Why would you ask him in 10 minutes? Hey, where's the bathroom? Down the hall. When you've been with us now for over a couple hours, you never once asked.
Our conversations wandered.
Yeah, you're there for 10 minutes. You asked where the bathroom is. He told you. You didn't go. And I mean, I'm just okay. So you've never ever been down that hallway. So there's no way in hell that your DNA is going to be down in this area anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. And there's no way in hell that your DNA is going to be back in here anywhere. And you had a cigarette. What happened to the cigarette? You smoked it, you said.
I smoked it. I might have put about my back pocket or thrown it out.
You said you're kind of not horny while leaving butts around. You told me that in the car the other day, right? But you actually smoked a cigarette. Okay. And have you ever been on these streets up in this area?
Nope.
Oh, did the one time on the bike back and forth here?
Yes.
So this event here where you were inside was about a week before this murder happened.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2 weeks. Never met Jason.
Never met Jason.
Well, now we have a problem.
Why?
All right. Inside that trailer, there's a ball sitting there. 3 balls. And in that trailer also, we have your DNA, the fingerprints on one of the balls. So, maybe you're mistaken about why that happened, but I want you to straighten it out now. Okay. See this picture?
Yes.
3 balls, right? This one's yours. One of these is Jason, and one of these is Jeff. I'm confused right now which one's which, okay? This one's yours. Those have clean places. On Monday, before the murder, there was a party. They were playing horseshoes. People are in and out of there. People clean after the party, because I talked to the ones who did it. Those balls were not there Tuesday, Monday night. Yeah. Your ball is there, your fingerprints on that matched with the fingerprint I got the other day. Your DNA is in that ball. Explain that to me. That's me getting the
No, I mean,
I'm saying, why is it that
I put I set my bottle either here or here in the sink. Oops.
But you see my bottle. This bottle here belongs to Jason, who you never met.
Whom I never met.
The beer's half full. The beer's half full. The beer's half full.
I thought I finished my beer.
But it couldn't have been. Even if you did finish the beer, let's say the bottle's empty. They cleaned the house after the party on Monday. That bottle would have been moved.
From your visit,
You know what I'm saying?
2 weeks previous.
Would have been moved. That bottle would not be sitting there. Jason's bottle wouldn't be sitting there because you got a 10-year-old kid that's there. He's be walking around and stuff. For him to earn money for chores, he helps clean. So they moved all the stuff and put it to the redemption bottle container, right? No way in hell that bottle sat there for 2 weeks. If anything, it sat there for a couple hours. So we have a problem with that. I need you to explain to me that why is that beer bottle's there a couple hours or at the time of the murder? So if you have a lost explanation, now's the time to spit it up. All right? It doesn't mean you did anything wrong, but we need to know why that bottle is there, why you were in that house a couple hours before the murder. Just tell me how this all happened.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, so now we're going to see the stern versus sympathetic paying dividends because this kid is now balling up. If you don't believe he's balling up, when we talk about fight or flight, a few things it does. One of the first noticeable things in fight or flight when your limbic system kicks in is people's thumbs rotate toward the inside. So they're creating an exoskeleton around their outside because we walk around with our soft white underbelly showing. Well, he's closing that up suddenly. He's covering that up. He's shrinking the target, getting smaller. His blink rate increases. He does an eye lock because he wants to know what this guy has on him. It's really funny to watch this, and you see this kid fall for this posturing because I bet you this cop is good at any posture he wants to use, but he knows this kid is one of those guys you can't give any place to hide because he's been, like I said, he's either like a jellyfish in the surf or he's gotten away with this somehow in his past by just BSing as he went, and now he's got him. He's got him on the ropes. The magic to this is knowing when to quit. Because we know what pre-confession body language looks like, and it doesn't always happen. Everybody will tell you it looks like this. Well, it doesn't always happen all at once. If you interrogate enough people, you'll know that it comes in waves. They may get close and back off. And if you push too soon, you make a mistake. But this cop knows it's already coming. You see him move in and get really close so he can reach over and put his hand on him. That's step one. And then it becomes about you and that person and becomes quiet. So he's got him. He's nailing him to a cross, as you would say, Mark. But he's got to be careful not to push so he doesn't clam up. And if a guy has no incentive to talk and he's not in full-blown fight or flight, you're not going to get him to talk, and he's going to call for that lawyer and get up and leave. This kid finishes his language when he says, "whom I never met," in that sentence. It was interesting to watch. And then his respiration increases, his neck gets stiff, starts nodding his head yes, and he's right on the edge of pre-confession, but the cop knows it's not quite ready yet. And he tries that quiet escape. Just tell me how it happened. That's a test, a very simple test. It doesn't work, but it does show a fracture because the kid's voice changes tones and changes pitch, actually, and volume in this case goes down to, sounds like a depressed voice and is very quiet. That's defeat, and that is an element. We're stacking up the elements of pre-confession body language to get ready to knock him out of the park. Scott, what do you got?
All right. See, I think this is great because the cop is going for the close. He's going in. He's got him in the corner, figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
And then he set this up like a damn champ, and he's going for broke. So Thane is all frozen up. He knows he's done, but his ego won't let this go. His ego won't let him say, "Yeah, I did it," and let that be it. He's still trying to talk his way out of it. That's the most simple I can make that entire thing. Chase, what do you got?
Same stuff. There is a detail mountain in here. There's a lot of focus on details that do not matter. And you also always pay attention. If you're ever interviewing anybody about anything, pay close attention to when somebody answers questions that weren't asked. That means there's a little conversation going on in their head. And someone in their head is asking those questions. Innocent people don't stare at photos. You don't see them staring to try to obtain more and more and more details. They'll look at it and they'll be like, "No, I wasn't there." And they'll try to give it back. They'll put it down on the table. They don't obsess over it because they're not sitting there obsessing over how much you know or what the photos might reveal. And I say that as a general statement. Grain of salt. There's of course exceptions. Greg? Mark?
No, it's me.
Mark?
It's me. Yeah, listen, just to reiterate what we've heard there. Look, it's a huge change to the guy that we saw at the start of this, who was calm. You know, even his breathing rate was down. Then we saw his breathing rate elevated, and now his hands are locked, barriered across him. He's minimized himself. We're going to see it pushed even further and even further. So I think you're right. Like he's almost fried, but he's not quite fried. You know, he's getting there. He's getting there, and what an incredible journey he's been on. And there's more to go. So let's see another.
Never met Jason. Never met Jason. Well, now we have a problem. Why? All right. Inside that trailer, there's a ball sitting there. 3 balls. And in that trailer also, we have your DNA, the fingerprints on one of the balls. So maybe you're mistaken about why that happened, but I want you to straighten it out now. Okay. See this picture? Yes. 3 balls, right? This one's yours. One of these is Jason, and one of these is Jeff. I'm confused right now which one's which, okay? This one's yours. Those have clean places. On Monday, before the murder, there was a party. They were playing horseshoes. People are in and out of there. People clean after the party, because I talked to the ones who did it. Those balls were not there Tuesday, Monday night. Yeah. Your ball is there, your fingerprints on that matched with the fingerprint I got the other day. Your DNA is in that ball. Explain that to me. That's me, didn't you?
No, I mean,
I'm saying, why is it that
I put I set my bottle either here or here in the sink. Oops.
But you see my problem. This bottle here belongs to Jason, who you never met.
Whom I never met.
The beer's half full. The beer's half full. The beer's half full.
I thought I finished my beer.
But it couldn't have been. Even if you did finish the beer, let's say the bottle's empty. They cleaned the house after the party on Monday. That bottle would have been moved.
From your visit 2 weeks previous.
That would have been moved. That bottle would not be sitting there. Jason's bottle wouldn't be sitting there because you got a 10-year-old kid that's there. He should be walking around and stuff. For him to earn money for chores, he helps clean. So they moved all the stuff and put it to the redemption bottle container, right? No way in hell that bottle sat there for 2 weeks. If anything, it sat there for a couple hours. So we have a problem with that. I need you to explain to me that why is that beer bottle's there a couple hours or at the time of the murder? So if you have a lost explanation, now's the time to spit it up. All right? It doesn't mean you did anything wrong, but we need to know why that bottle is there, why you were in that house a couple hours before the murder. Just tell me how this all happened.
I don't know. That's not.
But no, that's not. No, you know. You just don't want to tell me. And it doesn't mean to kill them. All right, but it means go one step at a time. How is that? How is that bottle there? Is it possible you went there? So remember, hypothetically, that you were there. That this whole thing here happened on a Wednesday morning or late Tuesday night when you went down there on your bike, had a beer, and all that stuff. And Jason was there. Maybe you're just afraid because you thought it was irrelevant. That yeah, I met Jason that night. Right here, but if I tell you I met him the only night and he's dead the same night, you're going to think I did it, you know, and that's not necessarily true. I want to make sure if there's some, here. Well, I'm just telling you what the evidence people are telling me. That's Jason's bottle. I now remember, that is Jason, the one you said you never met. That is Jeff's bottle. This is your bottle. All 3 bottles are half full. You were there just before the murder or when this accident happened, all right? Tell me about that. How was your ball there? Tell me how that ball ended up there.
Oh,
You have the DNA. I mean, it's okay.
you have my DNA.
Yes, well, yes, but between the explain how. Yeah, tell me about what you did while you were there.
Well, I drank half a beer.
Right. Tell me about Jason. You met him. This is his ball.
That's his ball.
Right. Did you only meet him the one time?
Honestly,
Yeah. I want the truth.
straightforward.
Straightforward. During this event?
During the dinner,
Okay. What night was that? Or what day was that?
Tuesday evening.
Tuesday evening? Okay, tell me what happened Tuesday evening there. How'd you get there?
My bicycle. Okay. And those are the tracks. Right up the driveway.
Where was Jeff when you got there?
Inside.
What time of day was it? You said it was evening. I mean, was it dark? Was it?
Not dark. No, not dark.
Okay. Jeff was inside. Was Jay still inside? Jay still was inside. There was a little boy inside.
At the counter, having a beer, inside, playing Timmy.
You didn't know the boy was there, did you? The boy was out back playing Nintendo or something. You did first say when they first got there. Okay. So you didn't know the boy was there. So the three of you were sitting there having a beer, right? And there was just the four-wheeler there?
Yes.
Okay. So show me where the truck and the four-wheeler and the car was sitting. We just want to be sure. So it'll be okay.
Right.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Okay, so I love what happens here, and I'd love everybody's view on this. It's got him really close. I mean, in that film noir version of this, this would be the point where the detective would go, just tell me how you did it. Just tell me how you killed him. And he kind of goes there by going, Tuesday evening, tell me what happened Tuesday evening. But then he backs it off. Then he goes, how did you get there? And I think that is so clever and so smart, because you could get a refusal on Tuesday evening, but you could get a complete refusal on that. But by backing right off of it, he's going to take him along a pattern, along a route, along a story. And my guess is at this point, and we'll see whether it happens or not, he's going to ease him into this, potential ending confession here, which I don't think he'd have got if he left it at Tuesday evening. That's when you killed him. Like, what happened? How did you do it? Beautiful the way it backs off. That's what I expect is happening here. And look, you'll see whether I'm right. But Greg, what do you think to that maneuver there?
Mark, I think what you're seeing is this pressure release
Yeah.
that works really well on certain kinds of people. Some people need constant pressure and no release. But other people, if you'll make them feel comfortable for a second, they'll get their expectations up, and then you cut their feet back out from under them. And it's really powerful. Sometimes I love homework. We'll talk about homework in a minute. I love giving a prisoner homework, putting them in their cell and giving them stuff to do for me. I'm not really giving them stuff to do for me. I'm putting something in their head. We would call it a mind virus that they work on for me while I'm sleeping. And then I wake them up the next morning and we go talk again. This cop is aware this kid is moving into pre-confession. He can see it. He's seen the building blocks of it. It's not ready yet. So he positions himself not just close, but at an oblique angle. He's not straight in front of him because that's confrontational. And he needs to become the ally when the time comes who's going to help him through this. So he has to get to an oblique. And then you hear this kid start to do those exhaustive outbreaths. That's consignment. This is over. We're almost there. The cop reaches out and makes physical contact with him, which is golden, because now I'm your partner, I'm your friend, I'm here to help you. And these things are just stacking up. But then he starts to come back out a little bit, and the cop realizes it, and that gives him that out to get up and go to the map, Mark. And I love, you can see his body language. He's kind of pissed off when he gets up and moves over. I was thinking my mom would call that flouncing off when I was a child. And you would know that flouncing off was not a good thing to do in the South in those days. But you can see he's compliant, but not happy. So we still got him. He knows he still got him. Now it's a matter of what's the next book on the stack to make him confess. Chase, what do you got?
Yep, I absolutely agree that we share a lot of the same notes. This is antisocial behavior. It's non-social. Every single thing you see. And anytime you corner one of these people, and Scott, you haven't gone yet, right?
No, not yet.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You corner one of these people, and it is amazing when you see the mask drop on these people when they get pushed into a little corner. That mask comes off, all these muscles, and you would be surprised. Even as you're watching this video, you're watching us right now, there's tension in your face. We carry tension around our face. And when that mask comes off of one of these people, you can see all of it fall. And it is just, it's terrifying to me. All of those muscles just fall and the affect disappears from the room, and you're seeing it start to happen here. Partly from fear, but the other part is he realizes they know, so the performance doesn't happen anymore. The performance switch gets turned off to conserve energy, and that's our brain's number one job, is to save as much energy as possible. So the performance, he's like, he knows I don't need that anymore. That's what was the most fascinating thing to watch, that little transition here throughout this video. Scott?
Yeah, exactly. And that's my notes for the very end of this was about how you can see everything relax and he's accepted what's happening for the most part. He's because there's nothing else he can do. His shoulders go down, his face relaxes, everything started because and that chin that was out before is back just a little bit. He's accepting what happened. And I think it's everybody here probably got shits and giggles because you can see coming a mile away, he's going to reach out and touch him. You can see that coming. You can see and when he does, it's like, there it is. So that was for me. This just peaked right there. I was like, that's what I kept waiting on. Kept waiting on, it, and finally it shows up. So, but I agree with you, Chase. Yeah, that's what happens when you finally there's that acceptance of it, and there's nothing since this guy can see behind his mask. In other words, he can see what's going on. There is no mask, and that's where everything starts going down because it's vanished into thin air. His hiding place. In other words, his shield, his mask from everything is gone. So, all right, is that everybody?
Mhm.
Was I last?
Yeah, as usual.
He went through the whole Kubler-Ross grief cycle in like 20 seconds.
That's not, no, that's not, no, you know, you just don't want to tell me. And it doesn't mean you kill them, all right? But it means go one step at a time. How was that bottle there? Is it possible you went there? So remember hypothetically that you were there, that this whole thing here happened on a Wednesday morning or late Tuesday night when you went down there on your bike, had a beer and all that stuff. And Jason was there. Maybe you're just afraid because you thought it was irrelevant. That, yeah, I met Jason that night right here. But if I tell you I met him the only night and he's dead the same night, you're going to think I did it. You know, and that's not necessarily true. I want to make sure that if there's some, here. Well, I'm just telling you what the evidence people are telling me. That's Jason's bottle. I now remember. That is Jason, the one you said you never met. That is Jeff's bottle. This is your bottle. All three bottles are half full. You were there just before the murder, or when this accident happened. All right. Tell me about that. How was your bottle there? Tell me how the bottle ended up there. Oh, you have my DNA. I am. It's okay.
You have my DNA?
Yes. Well, yes. Between the explain how. Yeah. Tell me about what you did while you were there.
Well, I drank half a beer.
Right. Tell me about Jason. You met him. This is his ball.
That's his ball.
Right. Did you only meet him the one time?
Honestly?
Yeah. I want the truth.
Straightforward.
During this event?
During this dinner?
Okay. What night was that? Or what day was that?
Tuesday evening.
Tuesday evening? Okay. Tell me what happened Tuesday evening there. How'd you get there?
My bicycle. Okay. And those are the tracks. Right up the driveway.
Where was Jeff when you got there?
Inside.
Okay. What time of day was it? You said it was evening. I mean, was it dark? Was it?
Not dark. No, not dark.
Okay. Jeff was inside. Was Jason inside?
Inside.
Jason was inside. Was it little boy inside?
At the counter, having a beer. Inside, playing Timmy.
You didn't know the boy was there, did you? The boy was out back playing Nintendo or something. You did first say when they first got there. Okay. So you didn't know the boy was there. So 3 years sitting there having a beer. Right? And it was just was the four-wheeler there?
Yes.
Okay. So show me where the truck and the four-wheeler and the car was sitting. We just want the truth, so it'll be okay.
Right. We know that's the truck. We know that's a car. I think it goes to four-wheeler.
Four-wheeler's right there?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Now you pedal up here to bike. Where do you park your bike?
Right against the car.
Right there. Okay, that's good. That explains the little scratch we found there. Okay. So you go inside. You're sitting at the bar with Jason and...
I'm sitting at the table.
I'm sorry.
They're sitting at the bar and sitting at the table.
Table's here.
I'm sitting in this chair right there.
Okay. And they're sitting at the bar. When you walk in, they go, hey, come on in. Or life is good at this point, right? When you walked in, were they okay to see you?
Yeah.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they offer you a beer.
Yeah.
You go to the refrigerator and get the beer.
Yeah.
Because you had one before, you open the beer's cap. He said, grab your beer. Right? You stop, you sit at the table, and they're sitting here, and you're having a smoke. At this point, you have a smoke.
Right. Yeah, I smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. You have at least 2 cigarettes.
That's right. I was smoking Black Hogs that night. Yeah, the white boxes right there. You know more than I do.
What did I know everything? I know. You know more. And soon you're going to know that I know that you know that I know, right? Okay, follow that? Okay. It's a little dance we're doing, but you know that I know. So you have a smoke. Something goes terribly wrong. Jeff comes outside, okay? Something happened right down this area. Outside.
We went outside and came over here by the garden. I smoked a joint.
Down there by the garden area? I'm sorry?
I smoked a joint with Jason.
You smoked a joint with Jason. Look at it.
And Jeff didn't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Still don't know the boys there yet. Yeah. Okay. So you smoke a joint down in this area. So a joint there with Jason.
like I said, I asked Jeff about work,
Mm-hmm.
and and we were talking about carpentry and all sorts of different things, and he said he had some nails for me, and that's why you have my prints towards the shed. Of that towards the shed. He was kind of wanting to show us.
Where's the shiz? Where are the shiz?
Here.
Okay. You want to show you some nails that are out there? Is that why? I missed what you said. There were some nails out there.
Show me some nails.
So when were you out there by the shiz?
That night.
Tuesday night. In the Wednesday morning. Tuesday.
It was Tuesday night, yeah, and I was home shortly thereafter.
Thane. It's truth.
I know you want the truth, but I'm gonna have to take a visit to smoke you.
Does that mean you want to stop talking? Or?
For a minute, I'm gonna get another coffee and go up here to your video and take a cigarette, or you could bring me a joint, maybe.
Okay, but this guy thing, here's what we're going to do. All right,
Earnest.
I'm honest.
Black mark on your record.
That's the thing about Mark. He'll give me something, and then I'll think about it later and start laughing again. Remember that time? And the other day we did a show on here, Mark, and I started laughing out of nowhere. And it was because I thought of you saying, when I said, "Hey, I put together the Psychopath Awards," did you go, "Your opus"? I think about that sometimes. I really do. It just kills me because of that classic British delivery, like it's serious and big. Oh my God. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, not a lot on this one because it's just so simple. Look, he's devoiced, as I would call it, throughout all of this. Just all of it is faded, Scott. All of it is faded because he's got zero confidence anymore. The body has really collapsed here. And again, go back to the start. Look at the tension state of his body at the start when we started watching this interview. Look at the tension state now, flaccid. Hear the strength in his voice at the start. Hear the weakness in his voice now. That's what nonverbal is about. It's these big contrasts, and often they can be very, very subtle. They can be small things. They can be micro things, but the contrast as to what you had before is notable. So notable contrast here as he moves undoubtedly towards something of a confession. Well, we'll see. Chase, what do you see here? What do you like?
Yep, completely agree with you. The one thing I thought in here is important to look out for in interviews is when someone does repetition of phrases and not questions. And this is different. And this is when they've run out of cognitive space in their head. So they will repeat what you say to probably A, save energy, and B, buy some time. So interrogator says, "I want the truth." And he says, "I know that you want the truth. I know." So he's like repeating the statement before he starts talking, buying time, saving mental energy. That's all I really saw. Scott?
Right. I think this is where the detective knows. He lets him know that he knows exactly what happened in this section. So Thane even starts smiling. He's got a smile on his face. And they have all they need to get him convicted, but that detective still wants the confession. He's still going for the confession. So I think he's into the game of it. Maybe that's why I like it so much, because he's into it. He's making this guy play the game, So that's what I like about it. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah. Chase, you brought up in the beginning, trying to get the guy into present tense. He does. In one of the very few full sentences he says in the entire thing, he says, "They are sitting at the bar and I'm sitting at the table." Another indicator. He's got him on the ropes. You see disdain in his face. You see the sides of his mouth pull back. as he says, you know more about this than I do. And you see the beginning of that admission. What I love the most here is when he does the Dr. Phil, I know that he knew that I know that he knew.
He knew I knew. I knew he knew I knew. And he knew I knew he knew I knew.
And you see the contempt in that kid's face. I mean, that one-sided face come up, and he knows he's just lost. He knows he has, but he tries to back up. You see him stop just short of saying, yeah, I was there. And the cop now has to make a really quick assessment of, do I continue the hard-ass path or do I do something a little different? Let's see what he does.
We know that's the truck. We know that's a car. Here goes the four-wheel.
Four-wheelers right there. Okay. All right. Now you pedal up here to bike. Where do you park your bike?
Right against the car.
Right there. Okay, that's good. That explains the little scratch we found there. Okay. So you go inside. You're sitting at the bar with Jason and...
I'm sitting at the table.
I'm sorry.
They're sitting at the bar and sitting at the table.
Table's here.
I'm sitting in this chair right there.
Okay. And they're sitting at the bar. When you walk in, they go, hey, come on in. Or life is good at this point, right? When you walked in, were they okay to see you?
Yeah.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they offer you a beer.
Yeah.
You go to the refrigerator and get the beer.
Yeah.
Because you had one before, you know, with a beer's cap. He said, Gregory beer. Right? You stop, you sit at the table, and they're sitting here, and you're having a smoke. At this point, you have a smoke. Right?
Yeah, I smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. You have at least 2 cigarettes.
That's right. I was smoking Black Hogs that night. Yeah. The white boxes right there. You know more than I do.
What did I know everything?
I know. You know more.
And soon you're going to know that I know that you know that I know, right? Okay, follow that? Okay. It's a little dance we're doing, but you know that I know. So you have a smoke. Something goes terribly wrong. Jeff comes outside, okay? Something happened right down this area. Outside.
We went outside and came over here by the garden. I smoked a joint.
Down there by the garden area? I'm sorry?
I smoked a joint with Jason.
You smoked a joint with Jason.
Look at it. And Jeff didn't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Still don't know the boys there yet. Yeah. Okay. So you smoke a joint down in this area. So a joint there with Jason.
Like I said, I asked Jeff about work.
Mm-hmm.
And he, and we were talking about carpentry and all sorts of different things. And he said he had some nails for me. And that's why you have my prints towards the shed. I'll die towards the shed. He was kind of wanting to show us.
Where's the shiz? Where are the shiz?
Here.
Okay. You want to show you some nails that are out there? Is that why? I missed what you said. There were some nails out there.
Show me some nails.
So when were you out there by the shiz?
That night.
Tuesday night. In the Wednesday morning. Tuesday.
It was Tuesday night. Yeah, and I was home shortly thereafter.
Thane. It's truth.
I know you want the truth, okay, but I'm gonna have to take a visit to smoke you.
Does that mean you want to stop talking, or?
For a minute, I'm gonna get another coffee and go up. Here's your video. I'm gonna take a cigarette and you could bring me a joint, maybe.
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. All right.
Earnest.
I'm honest. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. I appreciate you being honest. All right. I appreciate that a lot. I want you to. We'll get you a cup of coffee. We'll give you a piss break. If you want some food, we can make that happen. I'm hungry too. I cannot get you a joint. Be on your front on that.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot get you a beer. Trust me, I don't want it. Right? I do.
I do want a joint.
Yeah. If I could give you a joint in the wood, all right. Here's the deal. I'm gonna make all that happen for you. All right. You know that I know the drill. One step at a time. You're responsible for this, right?
I won't say.
Okay. Why don't you go have some? We'll get a cigarette break. Okay, and you'll go over and just take it. Okay.
Chase, what do you got?
In this moment, the urge, like the impulse to ask directly about guilt is damn near irresistible. It is something it's like sitting in front of every other word in your vocabulary. Like it's hard to say anything and follow the process. He asks about guilt a little bit here, and
and then kind of realizes what he did, and I think he goes back. But the formula works. There's like a 3-step formula to interrogation, depending on how you look at it. It's like interview, confrontation, interrogation. And we don't see a lot of confrontation because I think he skipped over it because this you can see that he's visibly ready to go. But one mistake that he makes here, and I maybe won't even call it a mistake. I would just say, as a piece of advice, never ask a question that allows a full denial. You never want to say, "Did you do it?" or "Were you in that room?" Maybe you guys disagree, but anytime someone says a denial, every single time it gets stronger and they become more confident in their delivery because it worked once. They were able to get it out once and nothing bad happened. They can get it out again, and they're a little more confident every single time. So when you ask questions like, "Did you do it? Were you there?" You need to skirt around those questions without giving them an opportunity for a denial. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, interesting. Look, here's what I see on his face that I haven't seen on his face anywhere else is grief now. And so I think that's pretty powerful because he's in a lot of distress now, a lot of distress. And, again, you think how confident he was at the start of this and the distress and the grief that he's in right now because he knows this is going to go really badly for him at this point. It's only really going one way, and I think he knows the position that he's in. But I mean, interesting, Greg, because we're only looking at excerpts of this. From start of this to the point where he's at now, roughly how long do you think that it? Yeah.
5 hours.
It's 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 5 hours. So, from the way that we're looking at this, it could seem like, this is a 60-minute, like you've got him into this state. No, it's a 5-hour job. It's as you say, theater for one. That's 2.5 times Hamlet somebody's doing there. It's a long epic stint. Greg, what do you see here?
Yeah, Chase, usually I get why they would say don't let guys do a denial. I think, however, when I've been this guy, this is my style, is very stern. I do this more than I do anything else. When you're very stern and you want to be the guy who embraces and catches the baby, you need to soften. And I think that's why he does it. I think he says, boom, allows him a chance, and then says, why don't you go outside and think about it? Gives him homework. He's painted a picture that is damning and there's no way out of it. Now, there's always a risk. You're dead on. There's always a risk that the guy comes back and goes, screw you. But there's also the risk that if he doesn't soften, the guy's going to go outside, dwell on it, come back and say, this guy's an asshole, I don't trust him. And let's see how that works. Because I'll tell you, somebody would automatically say, why would you let him go? Well, you know where he's at. You know where he's going to be. You're going to follow him. You're going to track him. And I think he went outside and let him have a smoke and do that kind of stuff. Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, when you have the confrontation like this, the confrontation, you have to have a whole lot of stuff behind you, like we were talking about earlier. Like, I think they have enough to convict him already. He just wants that. He wants him to confess that. He wants a confession from him. So I always gave him a standing ovation when I watched this because I think he's waited and waited and waited and waited, and that's the hardest part as well. What you talk about, Chase, that wanting to wait. I don't think he can wait anymore, But there's a spot. Then there's a time that comes up. You say, "Well, what happened? Did you do this?" And he says, "I won't say." So he's saying, in other words, that's when he lets him go outside and have a smoke. Because he knows he's going to sit out there on that curb or whatever he's doing and think about that. He's going to know it's over because he already knows it's over. He knows they have enough. And especially if he's got 162 or 4 or his IQ supposedly is. I think that would have worked. I think that's a good. I don't think he could stand it anymore because he saw the window and it opened up and he was like, okay, did you do it? Because there's this feeling you get. I don't think there's anything you can. There's not a protocol you follow when that happens. You can, in the read technique, there's a protocol and you see, and you do it right here, whether you have feelings about this or not. But when you use the read technique and you use it for your own, you build your own technique around that and put your own stuff in it. I think that's part of what we're seeing here. And I think he got that feeling. And when it opened up, he's like, he's going to do it. And that's when he stuck it in there and said, did you do it? And it's when he said, I won't say. And I'll bet you those two guys had the shits and giggles when he left and was out there smoking because they knew they had him. So, but I see what you're saying, Chase. Yeah, it's easy once you say, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. It's easier to keep doing that, you know.
I would like to know what they do have. If somebody knows,
Oh.
like what evidence they had at that point, I'd love
DNA,
to know.
DNA.
Yeah. Yeah, if you'd seen this whole thing, you'd know exactly. You wouldn't ask that. So that's a good question because
Right.
I watched the whole thing. I'd start watching. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So if you watch the whole thing, which if you want to, or I guess we've got the link. Or Greg's got the link.
You can find it. Just look up, rather than that, just go look up because it's everywhere. There are many, many versions of it. And there are some that are longer, some that are shorter, some that are commercially produced and all that kind of stuff. So just look up 164 IQ kid murder or look him up by name. You'll find.
But at this point, like point of fact, I know they're saying they have DNA, but then at what point have they DNA tested him to know that they have the DNA?
I don't know when they
I
did,
think-
but they have it.
Yeah, I think they have it. Yeah.
Cigarettes in cups. You know, he drank out of stuff. He left cigarettes there, and they knew which. They zeroed in. These guys knew which cigarettes he'd smoked. You know,
Bicycle tires.
yeah. They had so much on this guy. They knew it going in, you know. So that's the thing, which was odd for that. Not odd for that approach. Well, I'm not going to get into all that. And
See what they do to him because it's good.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. I appreciate you being honest. All right. I appreciate that a lot. I want you to we'll get you a cup of coffee. We'll give you a piss break. If you want some food, we can make that happen. I'm hungry too. I cannot get you a joint. Speak on your frown on that.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot get you a beer. Trust me. I don't want it. I do.
I do want a joint.
Yeah. If I could give you a joint, I would. All right. Here's the deal. I'm going to make all that happen for you. All right. You know that I know the drill. One step at a time. You're responsible for this, right?
I won't say.
Okay. Why don't you go have some, we'll get a cigarette break. Okay. And you'll go over and have a cigarette. Okay.
Did you bring your coffee? When he gets back in here, I'll go get you one, all right? Do you actually want a coffee though?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get you one in a minute. I'll get one when he gets back in here.
Where would you like to start?
When did you go up there that night?
Tuesday.
Tuesday night? What tower is that? Before an hour?
6, 7.
Jason was there in this place.
Places.
Was that the first time you met him?
That was the first.
Okay. What happened? You're on your pedal bike.
So I'm not that away.
Okay. What happened?
Everything's going fine, to tell you the truth. And I did see Jesse, and Jesse was in the living room. He was playing video games, and we were just mildly introduced. And we had a beer and everything, like I said.
So, things were going good at first.
Things were going fine the whole time,
Uh-huh.
until
Did that?
it happened.
Okay. Sorry there.
Cream? Just cream?
So you said when you get there, everyone's in the house in the kitchen area, and the little boy's playing Nintendo or something on the computer.
Whatever he's playing.
Whatever he's doing.
On the TV.
You said you're just kind of like introduced and passing.
And we just introduced and talked and went outside to smoke the joint, while the lawn. And Jack said normally nice to me.
Abnormally nice.
No, he was nice to me. Which makes it strange.
Right.
But I did have it out for him.
You did.
Yes.
When did it turn from everything going fine to not so much? He say something to you? Did he?
No. No.
Did he have to?
No.
No.
Where you found him? Where you found my prints? My DNA in the shed where he was showing me nails.
He was out there to show you some nails or something,
That was it.
and he bent over to get you the nails. What happened?
I think you know what happened.
I like to hear you. I have theories, but I like to hear your side of the thing. I know what happened. I want to see if you could tell me what happened.
And if I can tell you what happened.
Sorry.
I killed him.
You killed Jeff. And how did you do that?
With not?
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So what we know for a fact is a kid went outside to smoke. I think he was sitting on a curb and he cried. You can see his face is all red when he comes back. So what's happened is there's a human in there. This is probably not like every other person that commits murder isn't human. There are a handful of them that we might not think so. But what you do is when I say you give someone homework, you give them a picture of what you have. Doesn't have to be accurate, has to be close enough that they think there's no escape. He's done a pretty damn good job of that. And he says, look, I'm here to help you. I'm going to let you go think about this. He puts him outside. He boils in his own juices for a little while, and then he comes back in, and he's ready. And you can see it. His chin is down more than we've seen it, almost through the last second of his admission when he goes to fading facts. I killed him. This is that pressure, trust, and open the door. It is a beautifully executed job of that final close that Chase avoids what you said in the last one, that if he had jumped on him right at that second, he probably would have balled up and gone, boom, nope. But he softened, and now he's gone after him again. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, one thing that Mark taught me, we were in Virginia Beach. Mark was out here doing a keynote. I don't know, we were having a glass of wine or something, but Mark taught me about how humans or protect joints are different than when we're just like grabbing an arm or something like that. And I had never thought of this ever. But if this is the first time we see him protecting joints, and if that means there's a change that took place. So when we see change, we pay attention to it. And if I'm seeing this as an interrogator, interviewer, whatever, that means you need to go slow. And somehow this guy picks up on it. But we're hearing a little more repetition again. He's ready to go. And this is kind of a textbook thing here. Gave him a break. Not textbook in procedure and steps, but textbook in response to stimulus on the part of the interrogator. He sees stuff going on and he adapts in real time in the right way to get the outcome that he wants. And I tell people all the time when I do this training, everything about human behavior, if you're trying to shape the behavior of someone else, is not about influencing that person. It is about engineering conditions. So he changed the conditions of the room to make it more, make it easier to confess. Greg, what do you got?
Scott or Mark?
Yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you. There's not much really for me to add to that. I mean, I could go over it, but it'd be boring. I'd get all worked up and start, getting into details we don't need. Mark, have you been?
Yeah, listen, I've got something interesting on this one, I think. Look, obviously we see him really minimized now. He's using the wall for support. He's smaller and less sturdy than he's ever been. Yes, there's a confession there. I think he says Jerry. I think he calls the guy by first name. Maybe that's what I hear. I know, Scott, you've done some great work on the sound here to get it even audible.
Yeah,
And I think he says, Jerry, I killed him. Yeah. And I detect in this voice a slight over dramatization of this. And what I start to think here is, I think we're getting a gear shift from him where he's now going, okay, I'm going to confess, but I'm going to confess I'm going to start building the drama around this. And so I wasn't surprised when, after looking at all of this, I went to look at, okay, so what happened in this case? And, he went for some kind of diminished responsibility on this. He did, what we call in the old acting days, mad acting. It's like, okay, just act mad. And the audience, you'll have a new game for the audience to latch onto. I think, and truly, I didn't know this until I investigated afterwards. I think he's gonna start a new gear shift from here on to go, I'm gonna do a bit of mad acting here because I'm cooked, but I could maybe control exactly how I'm cooked on this one. And there may be now delineations of exactly the cross I'm gonna again start constructing for myself around here. I'm detecting a little bit of mad acting, a little bit, for those that know Blackadder, a little bit of putting your underpants on your head and sticking two pencils up your
nose
and saying wibble. It's definitely going in that direction for me. We all done?
I think so.
Did he bring you a coffee? When he gets back in here, I'll go get you one, all right? Do you actually want a coffee, though?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get you one in a minute. I'll get one when he gets back in here.
Where would you like to start?
When did you go up there that night?
Tuesday.
Tuesday night? What tower is that? Before an hour?
6, 7.
Jason was there in this place.
Please.
Was that the first time you met him?
That was the first.
Okay. What happened? You're on your pedal bike.
So I'm not that about it.
Okay. What happened?
Everything's going fine, to tell you the truth. And I did see Jesse, and Jesse was in the living room. He was playing video games, and we were just mildly introduced. And we had a beer and everything, like I said.
So, things were going good at first.
Things were going fine the whole time,
Uh-huh.
until
Did that happen?
it happened.
Okay. So you cream? Just cream? So you said when you get there, everyone's in the house in the kitchen area, and the little boy's playing Nintendo or something on the computer.
Whatever he's playing.
Whatever he's doing.
On the TV.
You said you're just kind of like introduced and passing.
And we just introduced and talked and went outside to smoke the joint, while the lawn. And Jesse
Everything's
said
gone.
normally nice to me.
Abnormally nice.
No, he was nice to me. Which makes it strange.
Right.
But I did have it out for him.
You did.
Yes.
When did it turn from everything going fine to not so much? He say something to you that you...
No. No.
Did he have to?
No.
No.
Where you found him. Where you found my prints. My DNA in the shed where you were showing me nails.
He was out there to show you some nails or something,
That was it.
and he bent over to get you the nails. What happened?
I think you know what happened.
I like to hear you. I have theories, but I like to hear your side of the thing. I know what happened. I want to see if you could tell me what happened.
And if I can tell you what happened.
Sorry.
I killed him.
You killed Jeff. And how did you do that?
With not.
All right. It's been pretty good so far. Mark, how's it looking to you?
Yeah, look, if you're into interrogation, for sure, this is going to be within the top 5, because you're going to want to go back over this and watch it again. You're probably going to want to go to the full 5 hour, if you're really into interrogation, and go through it and work out exactly what's happening. Because, as I said to the guys before we got into this, I was like, there's everything to say about this one, and there's nothing to say about it, because it's so good. It really is in those top runners, in that at some points you're just like, oh, I don't want to say anything about this, I just want to watch it. And at some points you're like, oh, look at that detail there. So it's amazing. Certainly it's in the top 5 for me. Chase, what do you think?
Yeah. Claimed IQ of 164. He tried an insanity plea during his trial that didn't really work out how he wanted it to. But that uncovered that he did suffer some horrific abuse as a kid. His mother was apparently neglectful to the point that CPS took him away when he was 12 years old. He's been through a lot. And I don't say that to excuse any behavior, but not looking at what's the foundation of the house that we're looking at. I want to get a look at it. And I think a lot of behavior is always a reason, but not an excuse. And we saw the results of a lot of these reasons. And it's good to know what the reason is. Greg?
Yeah, that's a great call out. And one of the things that we try to remind people is it's not what you get, what the diagnosis is, it's what you do with it. Somebody actually wrote me and said, "You're negative about borderline personality." I said, no, I just want to point out this is a behavior that is. That doesn't mean you're going to do anything violent or anything else. People live with all kinds of disorders, to your point, Chase, that they are constantly evolving and growing and trying to get better at whatever they're dealing with. This kid didn't. For some reason, we don't know. I mean, this is a horrific act, including a child. What I loved about this one and what I will always like about seeing a good guy win over a bad guy is the bad guy comes in with an idea, with a plan, and you can see it. I'm going to iteratively regurgitate what he asked and tell my story iteratively. I'm deconflicted. I'm brilliant. And then find out you don't know the rules to the game. This guy knows to ask more questions than you ever could answer. And what helped him in the beginning, that text-like speaking pattern where he only used phrases, is his undoing, because he can't string together enough of those text-like phrases to create a narrative and a story, and the story starts to come apart. And this is another great example of why this is an art form, not something that you can read in a book and go do it. Scott, what do you got?
I'm always at the end of these things. I always say, "This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one." I think I'm going to call this as my number one favorite, even in interrogations, even over the Russell Williams interrogation with Jim Smith. That was awesome. That's on my Mount Rushmore. But this one, I want to put it up there. I don't know if it's because of the detective is so likable. Yeah, but he's just so
Brilliant.
It's the art of it. He's got, man. He has the art of it down. And people say it's an art. Yeah, it really is. It really is when you do it right, and that's done right. You know, I can't get over how much I like this one, and hoping I haven't oversold it and said how cool it is. For people to say,
No,
"Oh,
this is pretty damn cool. And I've seen a lot of interrogations.
yeah,
It's great.
well, I like this one." All right, fellas, thanks. This is another good one, and we'll see you next time.